Hello and welcome to Five Old Fogies Are Angry. I am DesperadoSensei. Above me is Jakkanadar, and below me is AnComSciComm.
AnComSciComm.
Well, sorry. To my screen, you're two people to the left of me.
Okay.
Just because of the way our windows are lined up, that did not work out as planned.
Well,
I was like, above us, that's the video. What do you mean?
yeah, I have us. What is it above, or what is it? We're vertically put on the screen, make it a little bit easier. So.
Yeah, but I didn't know who you were pointing to because I don't have the same screen as you, so I didn't know who you were trying to prompt.
Right. Okay.
Okay, but go on. Technical errors aside.
All right. So, what is it? We're bringing to you the Mamdani, Silwa, and Cuomo debate. The what is it? The New York 2025 mayoral debate, and we're going to go through the entire debate, and we are going to comment on
and react to some of the interesting moments, shall we say.
interesting.
Oh, yes, join us for the next 6 hours as we go over this hour-long debate.
No. It won't take us 6 hours because there's going to be a lot of this we skip. I don't know how much of it you two have seen. I've watched the entire damn thing already.
I'm coming in blind. I have not seen anything.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you, there are going to be certain times, especially when Cuomo is talking like he's trying to live out the Ramones song. We're going to want a speech.
I figured you could have just stopped that at talking.
Yeah, well, no, because there are times when he gets animated because he is a New Yorker still, so like he has that capacity. But Cuomo is one of the most sedated motherfucking public speakers I have ever fucking seen for a New York. Like, this motherfucker makes Ed Koch look like a goddamn like heroin addict, like in comparison. Like he is so sedate in everything he does, except if you tie into the identity politics around his race. Then you instantly get animated Cuomo every fucking time. Every fucking time. He can't help himself. And he does it almost by rote memory at this point. I think he's just used to doing it because of his fucking brother.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, we are going to be going over the
and it was Sliwa, not Silwa, by the way. Silwa sounds like somebody from Curtis Sliwa. Silwa sounds like somebody from your area of the world. Sliwa
could be. Hey, I think I might have spelled his name wrong in the title. Not like he's gonna win, but still.
No. The guardian angel without his beret is not going to win. We have turned him into Samson without his hair by making him take off his red beret.
Hey, you know something? He should have wore that to the debate. I'm just saying.
No, he really shouldn't have, because he went through a campaign thing like before all this happened, where he had been wearing the beret for so many days in a row that when he got on stage, when he took it off, he had a white headband of like a beret tan line. You don't ever want a beret tan line. You don't ever want a beret tan line. It was. Let's just put it this way: he looked like if we were in modern times, like a good plastic surgeon tried to make a fucking Frankenstein, because it looked like the top of his head was stitched on. It was like we stitched on this dead white guy's head over this kind of swarthy guy's body.
All right, so
But,
should we get started?
Yeah. Yes, it gets right into it pretty quick with this video. This is the clip from C-SPAN, so we're not getting any of the preamble. There was like 20 minutes of bullshitting before this. Like if you watched it live, like them talking with like the moderator, blah blah blah, that kind of bullshit. This just goes straight into when they start talking. I will say this. you're going to want to make sure the volume's maxed, and if you have a volume booster, you may want to boost it at times because the volume is a little inconsistent, and that's not their fault. It was the feed's fault. Like they were having like signal issues.
All right, so let's get.
So you're just going to pay attention to it. Yep.
47 streaming and digital platforms, Politico.com, Telexitos, and YouTube. The first hour is also live on Channel 4 and Telemundo 47. We do have a few rules for the candidates. For traditional question and answer, you'll have 1 minute to respond, and we'll offer 30-second rebuttals at the moderator's discretion. We'll also be asking questions where we will be looking for shorter answers. We also reserve the right to cut off your microphone if you ignore the rules, but candidates, you know we don't want to do that. The goal is for you to hear each other and for New Yorkers to hear everything you have to say. Good luck. We'll begin with Melissa Russo.
Thank you, David, and good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for being here. We begin tonight by asking you to do what every mayor dreams of, and that is to write your own headlines. Imagine it's January 2027, and you have been in office for exactly 1 year. We would like you to quickly give us one headline about what you think your biggest accomplishment will have been.
Okay, I'm just going to say this.
We'll begin with you,
Melissa
Mr. Cuomo.
Russo should have been a goddamn high school teacher with this goddamn question and how fucking ignorant it is. Where do you see yourself after you've been elected for a year? Give us your optimal headline. It's like, this is some social studies fucking like scut work bullshit.
Right. This honestly, it honestly sounds like something like somebody who did like junior high school debate. Just and not even like competition. Just some English teacher decided to have kids together for a debate in a junior high school class, and this was one of the questions that they asked them.
Oh, 100%. Like when I heard this question the first time, I instantly was just like, why don't you just go to an interview and ask them what item at the fucking store they want to be before they're hired? What fucking answer is? What kind of question is this, Russo?
It's more like this. It'd just be like, I heard the question and I'm just like, I can tell you weren't the fun sub.
That too. But it's also, it's just, my thing is this. In an ideal world, none like in reality, like if we're talking in an ideal world, no matter who of these people became mayor, none of them could ever get exactly what they wanted done in a year.
Yeah, true.
Because we have greater constituency, and not everything that you want is going to be what the rest of your city, state, country want, depending on scale, etc. Like, you cannot please everyone. That is not a realistic possibility. So, like, this special pleading, idealized, like question, I hate these things because all it does is show a lack of critical thinking on the interviewer's part, and it's trying to play to emotions as opposed to actually tell them a reality.
I think a better question would be, which of your proposed policies do you think could be enacted fully by the time? What is it like? What is it?
Yeah, by a year. Yeah,
by a year. Which of your policies that are your bread and butter policies do you think would be enacted within a year? I think that would be the better question over where do you see yourself in a year?
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, it's also Melissa Russo is not a bad person. I've been giving her shit because this was a dumb question, but it's also. It's a softball question that she knows is evocative. She knows it is going to be played to emotions. That's not how you start a debate when you're actually trying to discuss policy, which is what this is supposed to be, as a policy debate in the mayoral race. Like
I said,
it's poisoning the well, but in a different way.
She's not the fun sub.
Yeah. It's poisoning the well with too much cotton candy, so everyone gets diabetes, as opposed to poisoning it with arsenic. In my opinion. Like,
you got anything, or do you want to just keep going?
No, you're right. It was a dumb question, but like, from a lay person's point of view, you understand what she's asking. So like,
yeah. Well, like I said, it's meant to be evocative to those lay people. That's the whole point. Like, it's played to emotion over form over substance is what this question is, for lack of a better reductio.
All right, Here we go. We're going to keep going.
First, thank you very much for sponsoring the debate and having all of us. The one headline, how many characters in the headline?
You're familiar with headline length.
Rent down, comma, crime down, comma, education scores up, comma, more jobs in New York City.
Now we're getting maybe a little over the average headline length, but
optimism high.
Thank you. Mr. Sliwa.
Curtis Sliwa is without his iconic red beret because I'm talking to the people of New York City about the really serious issues of affordability, the cost of living, and obviously what I've spent most of my life
did not
doing,
listen to the
which is public safety in the streets and the subway.
We would love a headline from you. What will your headline be, your big headline, and you're number one as mayor?
Curtis Sliwa exceeds
Sliwa is
all
without
expectations
his
and looks very mayoral tonight.
Mr. Mamdani, you've had some time to think about it now. What's your headline?
It's a pleasure to be here. First of all,
he essentially just said the same
and the
thing.
opportunity to speak directly
It's
to New
very
Yorkers about this
mayoral
moment in
tonight.
time and our opportunity to transform the most expensive city in the United States of America. The headline would read in about a year, Mamdani continues to take on Trump, delivers on affordability agenda for New Yorkers.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Sally?
Thank you, Melissa. We're going to talk about leadership. Voters have reservations about all three of you as chief executive of New York City, a city with roughly 300,000 employees and a budget bigger than many countries. We have questions for each of you, and Mr. Cuomo, we will begin with you. As a former governor of New York, you obviously have the management experience, but you resigned from office amid sexual harassment and COVID-related scandals. Why should voters now trust that you have the character to be mayor? You have 1 minute.
Good. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for the question. First, you are right. I left office. There was a report that was done that had allegations of harassment. I said at the time it was a political report and that there was no basis to it. It was then sent to 5 district attorneys. They all reviewed it. They found nothing. It was then litigated for 5 years. I was dropped from the cases. So none of that came to anything. When it comes to executive experience, I've run the Department of Housing and Urban Development, built housing all across the nation. I was governor for 11 years. The budget is double what it is in New York City, and I got government to work. I passed groundbreaking laws, minimum wage, paid family leave, built projects that had never been built before. This is no job for on-the-job training.
You want to be
And if you look at the failed mayors,
piece
they're
of
ones
shit.
that had no management experience.
There's
Don't
never
do it
been.
again.
He even did the hand motion as he said
Thank
it.
you,
a
Sally.
little
In the
fucking
theme of leadership,
sycophantic
Mr.
asshole.
Yeah. So
He even did the hand motion. He even did it. Just, oh.
So what did you
Sorry.
think of his response?
I think you know by my response.
I could tell that he fully leaned heavily on the sexual assault allegations being dropped and didn't talk a fucking shit about what happened with COVID. Like one iota about what happened there.
Well, there's that, but it's also listen to the wording he used. Nothing came of that. I was dropped from cases. Anyone who is even tangentially, remotely aware of fucking criminal prosecutions and sexual assault fucking cases understand that is the case in almost dead to rights fucking rape cases.
Yeah.
Because it's really, really, really hard to develop the fucking evidence necessary for a case like this unless you have like video evidence. Like it's
Right.
really fucking hard. It's just like, you fucking slimy. The real answer, politician. Because that was a politician's answer to that question.
Yeah. No,
AnCom.
go ahead.
I just saw
No,
him light up, so I wanted to make sure we didn't miss you.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with what y'all were saying.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss you because I saw you light up. That's all.
Yep.
Yep.
What were you saying, Despy?
No. What I was basically saying is that I think that he tried to fully dodge the COVID response in that entirely because he know that he screwed up like heavily there, like during that time period. The main thing that he had screwed up during COVID was the fact that he didn't quarantine people in like nursing homes, and it's
well, there's that and sending knowingly infected people into nursing homes. There's a whole bunch of shit to that. That's another thing. More what I was getting at is he is running as an independent, yes, but he is essentially the Republican candidate.
Yeah.
The reason he did not touch upon that, the COVID, has nothing to do with whether he feels he did a good or bad job, or he feels that the city thinks he did a good or bad job. It is because the simple fact is, as long as he doesn't talk about it, they won't focus on it because he's trying to appeal to the MAGA base who want to keep the Muslim socialist out.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. He's not even a socialist. He's a sock dem. I mean,
Dem-sock.
better than nothing. But
He's a dem-sock.
or dem-sock, you're right. No, you're right. I reversed it in my head. I'm like, which is better than nothing. But at the same time, his proposals aren't crazy. They aren't they're not even considered radical by the fucking Democratic Party's perspective 15 years ago. I mean, right now, Democrats are a little fucking weird, but like 15 years ago, his policies weren't even fucking unusual, like rent freezing, fucking grocery price. This is stuff that everyone talked about in major cities like New York back then. So it's like, it's not even radical positions that he's holding. So it's really odd the way they're going after him. And we know what the reality is. He's brown and Muslim.
Yeah.
They don't, that's
Well,
as we can see by $200 million worth of TV ads.
He doesn't have any management experience. Just make sure you get
Well,
the
that too, but
in there.
I just point out the $200 million in fucking in ads against him that suspiciously always have that little comment about why are we electing a radical Islamist after 9/11. That little comment is always in every one of those commercials. You know what they're trying to fucking do here.
Yep. All right.
And here's the thing. But I was about to say, here's the thing. New York isn't falling for it because they fucking taught the rest of the country these tricks. They were the ones doing these tricks in the fucking 80s, people. You guys are just catching up.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to keep us going forward.
Yep.
Mamdani, you work as a foreclosure prevention counselor for winning seat in the state assembly. You have no substantial management experience. How are you ready to lead the nation's largest and greatest city in the world in one day? You have a minute.
You know, I have the experience of having served in the New York State Assembly for 5 years and watching a broken political system, the experience of seeing a governor in Andrew Cuomo who would rather have served his billionaire donors and the working class New Yorkers who voted for him, and the experience amidst all of that of fighting and winning for working class taxi drivers to free them from predatory debt and delivering the first free bus lines in New York City history, and in working with unions and working class New Yorkers to finally raise taxes just that little bit on Mr. Cuomo's donors to start to fully fund our public school. And more than that, I have the experience of being a New Yorker, someone who has actually paid rent in the city before I ran for mayor, someone who has had to wait for a bus that never came, someone who actually buys his groceries in this same city. And what all of that experience has shown me, which Mr. Cuomo can't seem to understand, is that it is far too expensive and far too hard for New Yorkers to afford to live in this city. And the definition of experience is not doing the same thing again and again and hoping for a different result. That's actually the definition of insanity.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
If I can...
I hate it when people use that.
Yes, me too. But more my thing is, I liked his answer, but I have to be like honest and critical here. His over talking to the fucking the presenter, not a good look.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it looked like a dumb fuck move. It looked like he was being just as blatantly dickheaded as the other two.
Yeah, like when you run out of time, you wrap up your remarks as quickly as possible, if not shutting up right away. You don't go on for another 30 seconds on your spiel.
Yeah, most you finish your sentence. Like, he didn't have to add that last line that he added. All he had to do is finish his sentence, which was a comma and 3 more words, and then he would have been fine. But then he had that he had to get his tagline.
That is, unless you're on Twitch politics or YouTube politics or TikTok politics, and then you take another minute and then cry that you couldn't get your full point out afterwards.
Yeah, don't. There's a reason we're over here doing this shit, not talking to those fucking chuckleheads. That being said, I liked his answer, but I do have to be honest. He optically fucked himself on this one by overtalk, because he has to be the reasonable presenter in everything. And I know it's an unfair standard to hold him to, but it's the reality of it, because it's the standard everyone else is going to hold him to.
Yeah, I mean,
because he is brown and Muslim in New York. Like, that's still going to affect people's fucking subconscious. And if he gets too aggressive, which he does it a couple of times, it doesn't look good. And he needs to watch that, because these assholes see it and try to capitalize on it almost every time. Because they know what it looks like too. They can do it because they're dickhead old white men. They're used to fucking talking over people.
AnCom, do you have something?
It's a double standard, but unfortunately, it's a standard that still exists and that people are going to judge him by.
All I'm going to say
Perspective politics
is that if he does get to be mayor, the first week in his mayoral duties, he should wear nothing but tan suits.
You're a chaos imp, though. No, the real answer, outside of the joke, though, the first week, what he needs to do, hey, welcome, Rich.
Hey, Rich.
I wasn't sure you were going to make it. But what he should do the first week, outside of the joke of the tan suit, what he should do is he should be going to these two assholes, as much as I despise both of them, and offering them essentially cabinet positions of, hey, Sliwa, help me work with the MTA. You have experience with that. Hey, Cuomo, help me work with the fucking, the Jewish community. You have experience with that. Like, that would be what he should be doing if he's smart.
Yeah.
And I dislike both of these assholes, but that would be the smart move.
Yeah. I mean, you can hate somebody, or what? Not necessarily hate, but have like severe political disagreements with somebody. That doesn't mean that they're not fitted for the job that you need someone to do.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Team of rivals.
Yep.
Well, and it's not just that. It's also, if you are trying to appeal to the largest, most diverse city in the country, you can't really get a better trio to represent that diversity than these three assholes on. I mean, just to be fair, like, these three would represent the largest demographic pluralities of New York City. It would make sense for all.
Doing it, because he'd have to bend the knee. Like, I can see
absolutely
doing it. I can see.
I'm just saying what Mamdani should do, not what the other two should do. Is whether they accept or not's up to them. I'm just saying, if he's smart, that's what he should do in his first week. Outside of the tan suit joke that SB made,
the three of them have the main personalities of New York. I mean, you've got like the mild guy that just wants to make things a little bit better. You got the rich asshole that yells at the guy that wants to make things a little better, and then you just have a crazy old man in the center screaming into the void.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name right now, but in the comics, he had the brown and like red striped hair in the Spidey comics.
Yeah.
Essentially, we have Peter Parker. We have Norman Osborn, and we have that asshole who was always on the news yelling about everybody in between them. That is what we have in this. To put it into no. Jay Jonah was the newspaper guy. This was the guy who like got involved in like street politics and street gang violence. He did crossover with like X-Men and all that shit too. He was just like a generic Marvel dickhead that they added to a bunch of stuff in the 90s. I can't think of his name right now.
Norman Osborn works for Cuomo, because he gives you one face, when he's on stage, and then he turns around and becomes a complete dickhead when no one's looking.
I mean, he's a complete dickhead when everybody's looking, but I like the joke nonetheless.
Well, his brother was running interference for him in the media, so
yeah.
There's that now.
It sucks that he can't do that now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna
Let me see if I can find that character. Yeah, go ahead and play it. I'm gonna see if I can find that character though to complete the analogy while we go on.
I think I was invoked.
Yes.
In other words, what the Assemblyman said is he has no experience. And this is not a job for someone who has no management experience to run 300,000 people, no financial experience to run $115 billion budget. He literally has never had a job. On his resume, it says he interned for his mother. This is not a job for a first-timer. Any day, you could have a hurricane, you have, God forbid, a 9/11, a health pandemic. If you don't know what you're doing, people could die.
Mr. Mamdani, you want to respond?
And if we have a health pandemic, then why would New Yorkers turn back to the governor who sent seniors to their death in nursing homes? That's the kind of experience that's on offer here today. What I don't have an experience, I make up for in integrity. And what you don't have in integrity, you could never make up for in experience.
Yes. May I? First, would you?
Ooh, that's gotta hurt.
Also, is assemblyman not a job? Like, he just told New York that an assemblyman is not a real job.
No. What he's saying is what most, and to be fair, most Americans actually view this. A politician is not a real job. It is a political thing. He's doing the delineation between white and blue collar. Yeah. Like I said, he's trying to do the everyman delineation between white and blue collar.
Right.
Because unfortunately, most Americans do it.
Right, but this is New York, and I don't think the same things appeal to New Yorkers than appeal even to statewide New Yorkers.
Hey.
And I think that people in New York who, for instance, are very critical of Trump because all of his experience is outside of government, to then turn around and say all of your experience is inside of government. I just don't think it rings the way that it rings in rural America. Like, I understand that's a good line nationally if you're running for president. I don't think it's a great line for New York City.
All I'm going to say is that might have been the mindset maybe in the 90s, early 2000s, but as that wage gap split further and further and further and further away, I'm pretty sure most people that are working blue-collar jobs are not going to look at it the exact same way as people working white. That people would traditionally have looked at politicians and whatnot inside New York.
Well, and the divide has changed. In the 90s, I would have argued that the majority, even though we had a lot of bridge and tunnel commute, etc., the majority of people during the daytime in New York City were white collar.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true anymore.
No.
The majority of people inside the 5 boroughs during the daytime and nighttime are both blue collar now. And it's just not the same city it was 30 years ago. Even though it is the same city, it's very, very different because the demography has changed so significantly. And everyone's like, oh, how could they do that with the rent prices, as every one of them have talked about? The reality is some of them don't have the money to move. They're literally too poor to move. They are stuck paying that crazy rent because moving would be more expensive.
And if you want to learn more about this, you could watch the video that I made called For Food Deserts for Why Don't You Just Move, where I completely explain why people can't just move.
Yes. I mean, it's wild, but yeah, there are some people that to move out of New York City, it'd be cheaper to become homeless in New York City.
Yeah.
Says the expat.
Yeah, but he didn't become an expat because he was trying to become homeless. He became an expat because he fell in love with a woman. No, but it makes it funnier all the same. Now that being said, Cuomo, he gave an answer that I agree isn't good, but it does appeal to those donors that Mamdani has touched upon, those billionaire donors. It appeals to them, and that's who he's still trying to appease, because if he loses them, he can never run again.
Well,
he's still young enough, he could run a few more times before he gets too old.
If it were a year ago, his appeal to donors would matter for this race, but now it's coming down to persuading voters. And
I agree it's a bad tactic. I am saying what I think he is doing in regards to why he is using this bad tactic. He's planning for future races, because I don't think he thinks he can win this one. Right. I think he's in this one out of spite. I honestly, because like there is no poll that I have seen that somebody could be showing fucking Cuomo that should be telling him anything else.
Well, I think he thinks like a lot of politicians, which is when they decided to enter the race back whenever, he understood that that political currents change, and if something happens during this race that changes things, I'll be in the right position to win.
No,
If that happens.
I agree. He's just
Just in
holding a
case something
position
happens.
too long.
Hey,
You know, like some, I don't know, we find out that you know, he published something like really anti-Semitic that we've been ignoring before, and now suddenly it comes out, or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
that's what he's waiting for.
Yeah,
A lot of
the October
politicians do that.
surprise, so to speak. And Despy, you were
Because
trying to say
luck is
something?
always a big factor in races.
all I'm gonna say is, and it could be something as simple as this instead. And I'm not like discrediting what you're saying. Is that guy has fucking main character syndrome? He's been riding on the curtails of legacy of his father, like Trump riding on the curtails of Fred Trump, like to power and whatnot through connections and whatnot. And he thinks that he is the fucking main character, and that's the only reason why he's.
I'm not saying you're wrong. Oh no, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think your idea is coupled with mine. That main character syndrome is why he's trying to keep those donors to plan for races in the coming years, because he plans on being a thorn, not mayor.
Right.
Is really what I think is what he's doing.
Because I mean, like Hillary knew when to go into the woods. Cuomo don't.
No, I can buy that 100%. I just think it's coupled because the thing is, after this debate, like if you go and like look at all his social media posts, every fucking defense of what he said, anything that he talks, everything was appealing to the donors, not the voters.
Yeah.
Every single thing.
All right, should we move on?
Unless AnCom has something to add.
Nothing here.
You said was totally false, as you know.
Which part was false?
During COVID, everyone did whatever they could in this state. And there have been numerous investigations where they've gone through it and they said we followed federal guidance. But yes, people died during COVID. And my heart breaks for everyone that died in this state and across this nation.
But just to be clear, just to fact check that, there is a criminal investigation reportedly underway at the DOJ about your testimony to Congress about your nursing home record.
Yeah, but that is a political issue with the Congress. They made a referral, which has gone absolutely nowhere. But there have been multiple investigations where the DOJ found that the nursing home investigation was politically motivated.
Okay, we're going to move on. We might have time to come back to it. I do need to move on to Mr.
Does Cuomo have sexual assault allegations in the nursing homes too?
No.
Well, that one's a little bit embarrassing for the Republicans, right? Because the Republicans, in their zeal to go after every Democrat, went after Cuomo too, and now they wish they hadn't because now he's their guy.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, like with that answer that he gave there, it's literally the exact same answer he gave for the sexual assault.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, but here's the thing: you're not far off. One of the people, and I understand because not a lot of people follow New York politics enough to know this part unless they're in New York. One of the people who is a accuser of his illicit behavior comes from that department. So, well, I don't think that's why he was saying it. It is funny overlap that there is that. Just say because he's a sex pest from way back. He's equal opportunity offender.
Right.
But that being said, notice the fucking way that these moderators and questioners are dealing with these guys. Whether it's Mamdani, Cuomo, or Sliwa, if you don't answer the question they pointed out before they move on, and you can see it, the people are like, wait, hold on, no, let me finish. No, don't point out that I didn't answer the question. Don't tell them.
All right.
You could see it on their face. It was beautiful. I loved it when I noticed that these moderators were doing it.
Yeah, the moderators are doing their jobs and not fluffing people.
Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm going to keep going.
And the panic on the debaters' faces.
The assemblyman still says he has no experience to do the job.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. Mr. Sliwa, as founder of the Guardian Angels and as a radio host, you've been a well-known figure in New York City for decades. But you also lack substantial management experience. So how are you prepared to be the chief executive officer of New York City? You have 1 minute, Mr. Sliwa.
First of all, I created the Guardian Angels to provide public safety in the subways and streets when government was incapable of doing so. I didn't do it to get a title or a paycheck. Secondarily, I don't declare myself to be all-knowing. I will hire the very brightest and best in their fields who have dedicated their lives to trying to improve the city of New York or the state or the federal government or the private sector. But what I will say is, thank God I'm not a professional politician. We have the architect and we have the apprentice of no cash bail, which has been a disaster. We have the architect and the apprentice here of Raise the Age. My own son was almost killed because of that in a gang attack. We have the architect and we have the apprentice of Close Rikers Island, which would just release criminals in the street. Thank God I'm not a professional politician, because they have helped create this crime crisis in the city that we face, and I will
Thank you, Mr.
resolve.
Sliwa.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa.
You know, if you were a normie listening to this and not somebody that was like neck deep into politics, that actually would sound like something you could possibly resonate with. If you were just
what is the opinion, not statewide, but in New York City, what is the opinion of no cash bail? Like, how does it poll in New York?
Very well, like 72%, 73%.
Mm-hmm.
It's
See,
like
that's the
overwhelming support.
Yeah,
I agree with you that that this is something that the average American would resonate with them. I'm not sure that this is something that resonates with the average New Yorker.
But I'm talking about him appealing to his base, because that's basically the only people.
Yeah, well,
really
certainly for his base. Yeah,
he can appeal to, and I don't necessarily see him eking out a win here. So
right.
I'm just saying.
Honestly, if you want my,
go ahead.
Yeah, if you want my honest opinion, he is trying to appeal to the olds, because if you break the demographies down by age, the least supportive category of cashless bail is the 55 pluses.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a wise decision. I don't know if he realizes that he's stepping in it doing so. Yeah. But I think that's what he is attempting to do. Just because it's what he has always done. Even when he was a 20-something street tough, he appealed to the 60 and 70-year-olds.
Yeah.
He's done this his whole fucking life. Yes, he tried to recruit young people to be his gang in the Guardian Angels, but the people he appealed to for donations were the people who look like him now.
Yeah. Well, my main thing is also, I mean, he's also older. He probably has money. So if he's older and he has money, he probably is disconnected with the actual life of people that live.
I don't think he's necessarily wealthy, but he's disconnected from what he was in the 90s. Absolutely.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at, is that if I'm reading his take on things correctly, he still thinks things in New York are like the 90s, because he's rich and doesn't know what it's like to be poor in New York in 2025.
That or he is continuing to sell this because this is what gets him donations on his radio shows.
Could be.
And therefore he is continuing to sell the nothing's changed since the 90s. It's still a fucking murder den. You're not safe walking through Central Park in broad daylight. Fucking he's been using the same rhetoric this whole time. So it may just be like he could be delusional, but it also could be he can't change it because if he does, he loses his core.
I don't call it delusional. I call it afflusional.
Yeah, affluenza could be a thing.
Right. He has afflusions.
No, but the thing is, you could be right, but he's been using the same rhetoric even when he was semi, what we would call poor.
Right.
That's why I just don't know. Yeah, you could be right though. That was funny.
But poor in the 90s in New York is a lot different than being poor in 2025 in New York.
This is no argument from me. I'm just pointing out that it may not be affluenza so much as old goat syndrome.
Right.
Unwilling to change.
No.
And that's all I was trying to get at.
I never said it was affluenza. I said it was a afflusion.
Well,
it's a delusion.
An afflusion would be
a delusion that's paired with affluenza. It's an afflusion.
Yeah, I was about to say afflusion. I took as a symptom of affluenza. Like I knew it was a subgroup.
All right,
but that's kind of my point. Is now that being said, the one thing I can't say, he doesn't show he has money because any one of us in this call could afford the suit and tie he's wearing.
Yeah.
Whereas none of us in this call could afford the jacket that Cuomo has on. Yeah. Not without breaking into some savings.
Well, mine are gone because I finally paid off my student loans.
It's just so if he has real money and he is that disconnected, he at least still dresses like an everyman. So he's trying to appeal to it, or he has deluded himself into believing he is still an everyman.
Not fully affluted himself.
Yeah, he deluded himself and doubled down in the other way. He's double deluded, double affluted.
All right.
Okay. Anyway. That being said, let's get to Mamdani's answer because his is the most important here, and we to be critical, we do actually have to take some shots at him here in a minute.
Candidates, President Trump has expressed intense interest in this election and in all of you personally. Mr. Mamdani, the president called you, quote, my little communist. Mr. Sliwa, he said you're, quote, not exactly prime time. And Mr. Cuomo, he has been critical of you, but said you have always gotten along. The president has threatened to cut federal funds to the city. And just yesterday, he killed the Gateway Project, the tunnel connecting New York to New Jersey. You've all promised to resist him in some way. What would you say in your first official call with the president to set the tone for your relationship moving forward? We'll give you a minute for this. We'll start with you, Mr. Mamdani.
I would make it clear to the president that I am willing to not only speak to him, but to work with him if it means delivering on lowering the cost of living for New Yorkers. That's something that he ran his presidential campaign on, and yet all he's been able to deliver thus far has been prosecuting his political enemies and trying to enact the largest deportation program in American history. And what distinguishes me from Andrew Cuomo is the fact that he has gotten on the phone with that same president, not asking him how to work together to help New Yorkers, or not telling him that he would refuse to back down to protect those New Yorkers, but instead asking him how to win this race. That's something I can do myself. I don't need the president's assistance for. And what I'd tell the president is if he ever wants to come for New Yorkers in the way that he has been, he's going to have to get through me as the next mayor of this city.
All right, Mr. Cuomo, we'll give you a little extra time, but I'd like...
Here's my problem. And what he did there, he made an accusation that he can't back up. And it's going to come back to bite him, I know, in a few minutes. But
right back and we'll grab something.
The second he said it, I was like, how do you fucking know if he made that phone call, Mamdani? This is not, like, don't make fucking assertions you can't back up. Do not make claims that there is not evidence to support. Because if you get caught in these moments, it hurts you with people like me.
Yeah, fair.
And I'm not a huge Mamdani fan. You can ask Rich here the first time he brought him up. I'm like, kind of a dick, but he's better than everybody else in the race. I'm not a huge Mamdani fan, and it's not because I think he's a bad guy. I think he has smarmy politician vibes, and I've never been a fan of that. Well, and he just did this here.
Well, this is where we need to find where the rubber meets the road, because we do have two communists in the call with us. On a scale of 1 to 10, what level of communist is Mamdani? He's still a 1 because he's still in socialism. He hasn't even evolved into communism yet. Right.
Me personally, if a 1 is hyper capitalist and a 10 is full on communist, I would place him probably at a 5, maybe lower, maybe a 3 or a 4.
So what you're trying to tell me is that he's a basic Pokemon right now, and that he's got a few evolutions to get to before he can actually get to communism. Is there a particular zone that's needed in order for him to get to that evolutionary state?
Here's the thing: if we go 1 to 10,
Mamdani is a basic bitch Eevee. How he evolves is up to him.
Ooh.
Well, okay, I won't side on to that one because that's a weird because basic bitch Eevee. What the fuck would a Leafeon be in this? I don't want to fucking go into this analogy further. That being said, no, my thing is this: if I'm going by the spectrum that AnCom gave, I would put him a little closer to a 3 or a 4, because because that would be the spectrum of extreme right to extreme left on economics. And when you're talking that socialism is on that spectrum towards communism, etc., but it is still like mixed. He's a mixed market socialist. He is the kind of pragmatist of, I know we can't get there, so let's just try and figure out what little things we can add from it that will give people benefits. The problem in doing it the way he did so in this particular answer is, as I said, when you're trying to appeal to those people, the people like me, the people like AnCom, you can't take shots that you can't back up. It makes you look like a jackass with us.
I just have one last question.
Don't do it.
Are there any special things that he needs for his evolution? Does it need to be at nighttime, during the day? Does the weather need to change? Do you need to trade with another trainer?
No, it's just a certain number of XP. It's a random with each seed, so we don't know how much XP it will take for him to evolve to the next form.
Right. And
could be 9 million. Could be 9.
What is it? Communistion or Anarchion? Is there a way to know exactly which evolution he's going to spark into one of those once he gets to the right XP point?
Oh God, what's worse? Corporation. He could sell out and go the other way.
I'm giving you crap. Anyway,
I know, but it let me build on the joke, and I just gave any fucking Pokemon communist nightmares with Corporation.
Regardless, it's not a matter of time before he gets called a sellout.
What you have to do is you have to measure his relationship points with authoritarian.
That was good. And Rich, you were, because he had the joke coming in, I think you started to say something else as well. What was that last tail end you were about to say?
Well, just that, I mean, everyone's projecting their hopes and dreams on him right now. So he's getting a lot of support from the left that is setting him up for them to be disappointed later, because even if he does want to do all the same things that they want, which I'm not persuaded of, but even if he does, you can't get it done. He still has to exist within the system of New York, which means he's going to compromise, and a lot of people on the left are allergic to compromise. So I think
People on the left have forgotten, do not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And it is a lesson I try to teach them as often as I fucking can, because if they fucking forget it for too long, it will atrophy and we will be fucked.
Yeah, they'll forget it with him. They'll just say he sold out if he only gets a portion of what he wants, you know?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's going to be a great many who do. I just hope it's still a minority. Unlike it last time.
Because the average New Yorker is not the uncompromising left, I don't think. No. But we'll see.
It's been 15 years since I've been there, so I can't tell you for certain. But I hope you're right. I hope that's still accurate.
Though I will say, like this thing here, making an accusation he can't prove or whatever, it's kind of rare. Like for the most part, he has been avoiding that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. No, it was just this phone call, because the thing is, I read about that supposed phone call too. I read about it in a bunch of fucking newspapers. You know what? None of the fucking news sources had proof. They just had a fucking rumor.
Yeah. All right. You want me
to go
keep
back
going?
Outside, sweet girl? Yep.
All right. I'll keep her going.
I'd like you to answer this question as well, what your first conversation with the president would be like.
Okay. First, I never had a conversation with the president that the assemblyman was talking about. But he's has a distant relationship with the truth. I would say to the president in the first conversation, look, we have had many, many battles. We fought together every day during COVID. And the battles were bloody. And I'd like to avoid them. If you come after New York, you know what I'm going to do. You know it's going to be ugly. And my chances are almost 50-50, even though you're the president. I'd like to work with you. I think we can do good things together. But number one, I will fight you every step of the way if you try to hurt New York.
Unless he weaponizes the justice system to go after the attorney general of this state, in which case you'll issue a statement that doesn't even name the president. And no matter what you think about Donald Trump, you know that not even being able to name him is an act of cowardice. And that's what we would see from Donald Trump's puppet on the right.
I do want to get Ms. Sliwa, but Mr. Cuomo, I'll give you a few seconds to respond to that.
Yeah. I said political weaponization of the justice system is wrong. Both sides do it. It's wrong when Donald Trump does it. It's wrong when they did it to Comey. It's wrong when Comey did it to Hillary. Okay. It was wrong when it happened to Tish James.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. I want to give Mr. Sliwa a chance to answer this. Mr. Sliwa.
Yeah, well.
But the thing is you also look like a complete and utter jackass trying to salvage this, Cuomo. Like, seriously, you just looked like he smacked you with a fish.
Yeah.
That's how shocked you looked at the fact that he said that. Yet, you notice nobody in that fucking audience of about 1,000 people made a noise. Nobody else was shocked. Nobody else fucking did. It wasn't even a laugh moment. Everybody was just like, yeah. It was just a given.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. It's just one of those things. Like, read the room, dude. Like, I'm not the greatest reader of the room. I'm a putz. I'll admit this. But if I go up and I say something and the entire room stays silent and just stares at me like blankly, even I know I fucked up in that situation.
Yeah. Like my main thing with this is that like I said, I keep wanting to push the main character syndrome where he just thinks he's the main character, can just plow through these things and he'll be fine.
I will say this though, as much as I was giving him shit about like being too predictable, that was a extremely well-timed shot by Mamdani.
Yeah.
Like, motherfucker's quick on his feet when it comes to this kind of thing. It's why in a public forum debate, as opposed to this more like formalized debate, he would probably wipe the floor with all three of his former opponents in the primary, just sitting there talking to him, because he'd be able to get those jabs in to where most people are laughing at them as opposed to listening to him.
The other thing is that you can tell he's actually prepped, like fully prepped. Like guy didn't skip leg day. Let's put it that way. When it came to prepping,
I don't know if it's prepped or informed, but yes, he is. Yeah.
when I'm saying
he
prep,
could just be good on his feet. No, I know what you mean. I'm just pointing out to the audience, because when most people hear prep, they think, sitting there doing like study prepping for this particular debate. I think he's just this good on his feet most of the time, and I think that's what we're seeing, as opposed to prepping, because he's just that well informed. Right. It's like Rich. Rich is really, really well informed.
I think he did quite a lot of actual debate prep with like stand-ins for both of his opponents and predicting what they would say and coming up with things. Like, yes, he's absolutely good on his feet, but I think there was a certain amount of preparation that went into having an idea of not only what points he wanted to bring up, but how his opponents would try to rebut them and how he would shut that down.
Oh, I'm not saying he did no prep. I'm just saying I've seen him do this on the fly with people on the street. And that's why I'm saying I don't know if it's so much just prepped or somebody like our friend Rich here, just extremely well informed and able to improvise because of it.
A bit of both, but yeah.
All right, I'm gonna keep going.
Your first official conversation with the president, what would you say to set the tone?
Well, first of all, there's high levels of testosterone in this room. I've had a love-hate relationship with Donald Trump that goes back over 30 years. But I know one thing. We have Andrew Cuomo. We have Zohran Mamdani. They want to take on Donald Trump. Look,
I'm so glad we didn't make it a drinking game for every time they mispronounce his name.
Desperately needed federal funds. Zohran Mamdani, the president has already said, it's going to take $7 billion out of the budget right from the start if you're elected mayor. People are going to suffer in this city. People who need those federal funds. What I would do is sit and negotiate. I would say, look, Mr. President, we need that Gateway Tunnel. It moves millions of people from Washington, D.C. to Boston. But take away the Q train project. We don't need those 3 stations going from 96th Street to 125th. It's not a necessity. Sit with the president and whoever he delegates and try to negotiate. But if you try to get tough with Trump, the only people who are going to suffer from that are the people of New York City.
Okay, Mr. Sliwa, thank you. Brief response, Mr. Mamdani.
Mr. Trump.
So, Sliwa, what you just said is you're going to show him your belly. Gotcha. That was a lot of words that you didn't need to add then.
Yeah.
Like, that's what that was. Yeah. If you get tough with Trump, only people who are going to, well, yeah. But if you don't get tough with Trump, the only people who are going to suffer are New York. Like, that equation doesn't change anything.
Well, also, like, there's something that the people who have been giving Trump everything he wants have learned, like the cowards in the blue states, is that when you show your belly to him, he doesn't go any easier on you. In fact, it makes it worse.
Appeasement is not the answer. I'm not saying, like, oh my God, we need a revolution. No, fuck that. Like, that's fucking stupid to think. And I'm pretty fucking...
They sense weakness, and then they...
I'm pretty fucking concerned about where the country is at the moment. But what I will point out is, like, this is just... You cannot function in this way. You cannot try to appease to somebody like this. Because when you do, it is literally the old proverb of taking an inch, giving an inch of them wanting to take a mile. The only difference is he wants to take the mile, your wallet, and your wife. Like, it's that much extra with the way this guy functions. And with little fucking sycophants like Stephen Miller around him, it's only getting worse.
Yeah.
Like, he was bad his first term with people like Miller. Like, I thought Bannon was the worst dickhead we could put next to him. I was wrong. We found one worse.
You know something? When Rex Tillerson is supposed to be the voice of reason within the Trump administration, you know that there's a fucking problem.
When fucking, what's his name? Durbin is even going, whoa. Like, come on, man. Like, sorry, it's just like, I want to go into so much more, but we'll get off onto too many tangents.
He's the kind of person that John Bolton would look at him and be like, I never met a war I didn't like until I met Trump.
Yeah, I mean, like, really, you're not wrong. It's just, it's so fucking, because it's scary. It really is. Like where our country is at is fucking terrifying. But it's not, to the pitchforks and torches level yet. Hopefully we can bring it back from that bullshit to where we don't have to end up in that situation. But at the same time, like, you cannot do appeasement with these people. These people have flat out... We have video of our deputy chief of staff saying torture is a celebration of life because at least they get to live. This is a person who is not attached to reality. This is a person who is not attached to any level of humanism.
This is a person that's possibly
I'd go so far as to say
adrenochrome, but that's allegedly.
I won't go so far as to truly armchair diagnose, but I will colloquially say he is a fucking sociopath.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure he probably has some emotion, so he's not truly sociopathic. But like in the colloquial sense, he's a sociopath to his wife. He does. I'm not saying I like those. I'm not saying I like these emotions. I'm not saying I like the emotions that I see from him.
I'm just saying.
But yes, he does exhibit emotions.
Evidence. I'm gonna have to see these emotions expressed that you're talking about.
Like I said, I don't like the particular emotions exposed, but no, they're there. I have, but colloquially, I'll say he's a sociopath because, at least for the purposes of policy decisions and the things that he will say on camera, he turns that part of his brain off that is there. If there is emotions, he can compartmentalize it and turn it off. And we see that by the way he treats and acts about these individuals that he accuses of being vermin or viruses.
You're saying he can just compartmentalize and turn it off? He's a Mormon? What?
I actually don't know his religious foundation. He may be, for all I know.
That's a joke from the musical Book of Mormon.
I know, but it allowed me to point out that I don't know his religious thing. But it wouldn't surprise me if he was actually Mormon, because yeah, that joke from the musical's real. I've seen people like that in real life before that musical ever fucking existed. Like, Mormonism is that interesting one of Christianity, but no tangent on that. But going back to this, is you can't appease Trump. You can't appease Miller. You can't appease people like Besant. We see this in their history in business long before their history in politics. And fucking Miller's young. So the fact that he has this track record when he's in his fucking early 40s is that much more telling of how much this is ingrained into his personality.
All right, we should probably get back to the debate.
Yep.
I'm gonna run.
Yeah, I was just finishing that off.
Already suspending infrastructure grants to this city, and he's doing it in a blatant act of political retribution. And what it requires is leadership that will stand up to him. And I disagree with Mr. Sliwa. We do need to extend the 2nd Avenue subway to 125th Street. It was a promise made to Harlemites decades ago.
Okay.
It's time to actually fulfill
Thank
it.
you, Mr. Mamdani.
Okay, quick question.
Do I get 50?
He's right, but no, I mean he's right. But the thing is in the grand scheme of things, a promise made decades ago that is no longer necessarily vitally necessary, as it no longer is. That's just fucking going through motions. You should be able to reevaluate a promise and go, hey, I know we promised this, but it's not essential anymore. What else can we offer to you, to that community? And use that money in that way.
I don't know if I would agree that Harlem doesn't need additional subway capacity. Like, I think
it's not vitally essential when, like it was when that promise was made, because now Harlem has access to multiple cheap and affordable bus lines that run through their area on a regular basis that compensates for the lack of that subway. And they even have indigent pass services for people on the bus system, etc. So I'm not saying they don't need it at all. I am saying there are certain mitigating factors that no longer make it vitally essential, like when they promised it in the mid-90s.
Fair enough.
Like,
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying, because if they
somebody
still
has
want
a
it,
gaping
if
wound and they're like, hey, we have this Band-Aid we can give you, but it's going to take us a couple months before we can give you the Band-Aid.
and more my thing is at this point is, if they still want the subways, if when you go to those community leaders, what they still want is a subway, that's what you give them. But don't just keep a promise to keep a promise if it's no longer what they need.
Yeah.
If they need something else, help them with that. And that's why he's right, but at the same time, political theater, in my opinion, it's just a shot at the Republicans who have and former Democrats who have never fucking delivered on this promise. Right. It's just him trying to set himself apart. It works. I don't like it. But...
Given how much he's actually been in the community and talking to people, that it might still be a thing that they want. He might be doing that partially out of political, gamesmanship,
no, that's
but
my
also
point. He's right, but that's why I started that with he's right.
Well, no, I'm saying that the reason he brought it up might have come out of his discussions with those very community leaders. So we don't know, is my point.
Of all the candidates on stage, who do you think actually talked to the community leaders?
Actually, the two that are currently in camera. Because as much as I hate Sliwa, he does go and talk to people.
Oh yeah,
he is that on the street guy.
That.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, who doesn't and didn't do anything about
the one who's not on the camera right now? And, no, I'm just pointing it out to the audience because it's just ironic that as you ask this question, the one person who doesn't talk to the people on the streets is also the one who's not on camera.
Right. All right. I'll keep her going.
Quick question for each of you. Mr. Cuomo, you've been asked this before.
He mentioned my name. Don't I get a chance to respond?
Well, we got a lot of ground to cover, Sliwa.
When was the last time you spoke with President Trump, Mr. Cuomo? You've been asked this before, and the last time you said you couldn't remember?
I believe it was during his assassination attempt.
So last year in 2024. Mr. Sliwa, when was the last time you spoke with President Trump?
Oh, many years ago. We were receiving awards. I was praising him for saving the annual Veterans Day parade. Those were the conversations that I had with him. Can I please respond? I was asked about the Q train.
Okay, real quick.
Mamdani?
I am the mayor of mass transit. We do not need a Q train. I'm in the subways every day. We have more than a capable system of transporting people.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa.
The infrastructure needs to be fixed in the system that we have.
Mr. Mamdani, have you ever spoken with
he's
President
a piece
Trump?
of shit.
No.
And the reason he's in the fucking subways every day is not good.
Cuomo,
but he's also not wrong. He is right. It's the infrastructure that needs to be improved.
Yeah.
Not just adding an extra line. Because
I've been on I've been on the New York subway within the last year, so you're right. He's not wrong. They do need substantial infrastructure improvements.
Yeah, no, he's a piece of shit, and the reason that he's on the subway every day is he's trying to oppress minorities. But it does allow him to see the problems and the cracks behind the plaster, so to speak.
It's like the Falcon and Winter
I don't know if they talked about this.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Yes.
Yeah, I had to take Trixie for a walk, but if they're talking about transit, like the bigger issue to me, like I agree with you that maybe the Second Avenue train or whatever is not that big of a deal yet. The bigger deal that I think has made more of a difference in the lives of New Yorkers this year has been the congestion fee, because now there's a lot less congestion in the middle of New York, which means you can run more of those buses. And Mamdani's free bus program could take advantage of that sort of new opportunity, that new access for buses that can get around now a lot faster. And something like that is a lot more effective and can help a lot more people than the rail line. That said,
I disagree that it's a lot more effective than the rail line, but it can help more people. That part I'll give you.
But also, but at the end of the day, I'm still on the side of the rail line because I'm in love with trains. But I understand this is an irrational motivation.
No. My point is the rail is the most effective because cost to benefit ratio, the amount of people you can move per kilowatt used, like all of that shit that we do in our nerd time, Rich, that we don't need to go on a tangent.
Take a moment.
That's one of the reasons why
I want to take a moment and remind everybody in the call here that we do have autistic people in this call, and talking about trains will derail us.
Yes.
Well, I know, which is why I'm trying to prevent us from, which is why I'm trying to prevent us from going off so far. All I'm pointing out is we all that nerd stuff we do in our off time that points to it being the most effective. But you're right, because of the fact that it is a fixed location, it can't help as many as buses can, which can always change their route. That's the only point I was trying to get.
Just to Despy's point, there's a reason the most active I've been in this call so far was when the topic of the subway came up.
Yeah, we're all autistics. We all love our trains, and that's more the main.
The train lover thing.
But it's also because mathematically speaking, we have the data to back it up. It's not just, oh, we like trains because we're autistic. It's also, we like trains because trains actually help people.
Well,
they literally move nations.
Well, we also
I like trains because I'm autistic and because they're good.
Time, so I mean that's another thing.
Yeah, it's like I could like them because I like pattern recognition because I'm slightly autistic, and I can like them because they're cool and good and
Have
do
we
good
brought up
shit.
the congestion fee so far? Because to me, that's even more important than the train.
Yes, the congestion fee has been reduced. In fact, in certain areas, it's been completely removed.
Right, but have they brought that up in the debate? Is what I'm
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, but they do.
Okay.
It is mentioned. I forget how long. It's not for very long, but it is mentioned. I'm just going to point out that the amount of money that it costs to do these things, because when people are going to be watching this, they're going to be like, "Oh, free bus line. Who's going to pay for all that shit?" It's far cheaper than you think it would be. And we are talking about, if I were to pay in a city like New York City, if I were to use it as a sales tax, I would have to put a 0.5% sales tax on like milk.
Yeah.
To pay for that bus line.
The thing is that,
or those bus lines, I should say.
We're gonna have to wait until how are you gonna pay for it? Actual questions come up, because that's where this actually comes into play.
I actually like his answers better than mine. I was just giving one for the people in the audience, the scale. Yeah. Like, when you're talking about a city of multiple millions of people, it is very easy to amortize the costs out of this to where you will never even realize that, because it's a 0.5% tax on a single fucking good. Not all sales tax, just one item.
Is an answer to that question, right? Like, it'd be really funny if someone says, "How are you going to pay for the congestion fees?" But
well, the thing is congestion fees don't bring in as much revenue for the amount that it costs to run the system as doing small sales tax like what I'm talking about, or what Mamdani says, which is even a better system.
Right, but there's added advantages, like the congestion fee also frees up your local roads.
I just say,
gives pedestrians more access.
If they put a progressive
it's not just
tax
about the revenue
on helicopter parking, I think they could fix this entirely.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about that, because I'd have to. That part, you may be right. Honestly, I've never looked into that data enough to check it. But no, I'm just talking about is the amortization when you're talking a city of this many millions of people. It is so easy to 0.5 cent here, 0.75 of a cent there. Literally, not even taking full pennies from an individual New Yorker and pay for all of it. Yeah. Like, it is very easy to do this. So like, these things are very fundable for those of you who have never lived in a big city, and therefore like this scale doesn't make sense to you. It's the same thing when you get down to 100 people. It's really easy to amortize for one person if you have 100 people around them. To scale this up to millions.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a daily use commodity. It could be something that you'd buy weekly or bi-weekly that only adds like a cent or less to the actual price itself, and the return comes back from
loaf of bread, gallon of milk. That's why I was saying, that thing you buy like, maybe once a week.
Detergent.
Yeah, there's another one. Dish soap.
Yeah.
Coffee.
Yeah, the things that you buy sporadically and you're not going to notice the penny.
And yes, even this is a big sacrifice on my part, I support coffee taxes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you support coffee taxes for other reasons, but I'm sure you don't like what's going on with the price right now.
Well, no, obviously tariffs are a dumb white reason for price changes.
Yes.
The thing is, because of the ultimately, I think we'll get better coffee if we do like more fair trade type stuff, and I think some of that can be supported.
That I agree with. But my thing is this: the one thing that this tries to promote, the whole tariff thing, is to bring things locally. You and I have discussed this. How many square miles of the United States can even grow coffee?
0.
Hawaii.
Oh, I'm sorry, Hawaii. I did forget about Hawaii.
Yeah.
So
You think that like Southern Florida might be able to do it if they try?
Southern Florida, certain parts of Texas, Puerto Rico. Yeah, it is. You were talking maybe a few thousand square miles as opposed to the tens of thousands of hectares that you can get in almost any other country.
You would have to have to do something like go out to like American
Those are not
Samoa,
jobs you can bring home.
like Guam, Puerto Rico, and what was it, like the Marshall Islands maybe? I don't know.
Well, no, there's even places in continental U.S. like the southern tip of Texas, southern tips of Florida, the U.S. Virgin Islands, etc., where this could be done. But here's the difference.
Well, if Trump annexes Venezuela, might get some
well, that too. But here's my point, Despy. Think about the eminent domain fee. So even paying pennies on the dollar of taking everybody's house in Miami.
No, but okay, I get that. I get what you're saying there. But when you're telling me the southern tip of Texas, the thing that's not going through my mind, which probably should be, is the eminent domain and the amount that's going to cost. My thought is, how are they going to get the fucking water?
Actually, with the southern tip of Texas, they still will have Rio Grande feed, and in Florida they have Everglades feed. So we'd be sacrificing two very important.
A coffee
yes,
needs.
Yes, like I said, we are doing a lot of damage to the ecology to allow for the growing of coffee beans in these areas, on top of the eminent domain money and all that stuff.
You know for a fact that no one's going to want to pump directly from the Rio Grande, and they're going to drive directly into the water plate, and you're going to have a California issue in southern Texas because they're literally
you literally got to my point before me. I was going to point out it would be the almond fucking crisis in Northern California all over again. Yes. It's exactly what the problem would be.
Oh.
But
north? I always thought it was in the south.
California, where almonds are grown.
Yeah, they grow it all over California. But there was originally a problem that Despy and I are talking about that happened back in the 80s, where they basically fucking damaged their entire small little aquifer in this town to where they were drinking shit water because of trying to pump enough water for the almonds. And that's where this meme started, was back when that area collapsed.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should probably keep going.
Yes, we should. I was just going to say, we can't do, there's certain things that tariffs are meant to do, is bring manufacturing and industry back here. This is an industry you can't bring to the U.S. even if you wanted to.
Tariffs only work if you actually have like what is it?
Plans.
Industries that are already built up, like domestic industries that are already built.
Yeah,
up
it doesn't. Tariffs don't work to bring anything back. They work to preserve what exists.
Right. Like
I can actually
beef are the perfect example of things that are actually tariffed within the United States, which is perfectly normal because we have the domestic infrastructure for both beef and dairy to accommodate it, and don't bring anything in.
Like I said, I'm not going to talk about modern times, and I don't want to go into a debate because we will go off too far on a tangent to debate this. But I will point out that the tariffs in the 20s did actually bring back certain industries that had completely died out in the United States. It can bring things back. It is just very, very hard to do. And your country has to still have the ability to have it come back, or else it's a fucking effort in futility anyways.
Well, I do think Trump
can bring back textiles to the U.S., but we can't fucking handle the level of volume it takes with the number of looms that it would take, etc. to actually do. We could not do that in the U.S. if we wanted to.
Just to be fair, I think Trump has been successful in bringing back the money laundering industry in America.
No, you're 100% right, but I don't think that industry was hurting too much to begin with. That being said, no, there are certain things you can't bring back to the U.S., but certain things you can. He's just being stupid with it, and I'll agree that the whole point to this conversation and why we went off on this tangent to bring it back to the debate so that the audience can follow along is because this is how you pay for things like free bus lines, is very minuscule taxes on things that can pay for a lot more than you imagine.
All right.
Go on.
Yeah, a couple cents on a burger is going to be more than enough. And I'm using burger just as a random thing. It's going to be more than enough to pay for free bus lines for that entire city, and is going to be barely enough for any individual to notice. And that's the benefit of spreading out the costs of those things among a large population. Is the impact on any individual is tiny, but yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
One last comment on that is: do you guys remember 2000? I think it was 2010, somewhere around there. And when they were talking about how Obamacare was gonna make pizzas more expensive, I think it was Papa John's. That's
yes, because he said because it's going to raise the cost of his insurance.
The claim, like, what do you mean? And then they asked him, like, well, how much more expensive will a pizza get if you have to pay for health insurance for all your employees? And they said 8 cents. Per pizza, not per on the dollar, per pizza.
Yeah.
So like a $10 pizza would be $10.08.
I'm like, yeah, there's a difference between the problem is when people hear the words more expensive, they almost never ask how much, because that is really the key question. Yeah, things will get more expensive when people have to pay for more stuff. That's a given.
Well, we've psychologically programmed this way, AnCom. Think about it this way. Why do all of our prices end in 0.99? Because it makes you think it's $1. It's only 1 cent cheaper, but it makes you think it's $1 cheaper than it is.
That's one of the reasons why gas prices are such an inflection point, because when you're pumping gas, you watch the numbers roll, and that has like a psychological effect on you. And if those numbers for a full tank of gas look somewhat different than they did last week, you register it way more than you would register other things.
Okay. I was about to say we lost AnCom. Okay, he must have just been resetting.
He saw his
okay, so let's go on because I think we're about to give
follow up to that. President Trump has spoken positively about you and your candidacy, even as his Justice Department, as we've noted, is reportedly investigating you for allegations you lied to Congress over your COVID record. Given that dynamic, how would you be able to stand up to this White House? How are you not compromised? And just take into account that New Yorkers are troubled by what they view as a compromised relationship the current outgoing mayor has with the president.
First, you're wrong when you say there's any investigation of me. That's not true.
Do you have evidence there is no investigation?
I've heard absolutely nothing. Congress did a press release. They said they sent a letter to the Department of Justice, which they do routinely to generate press, and that's what that is. I fought Donald Trump. He investigated me repeatedly with the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice Inspector General said that it was actually politically motivated. That does not back me up. When I'm fighting for New York, I am not going to stop. And I'll tell you something else. If the Assemblyman is elected mayor, Donald Trump will take over New York City, and it will be Mayor Trump who runs New York City.
We have to move on. Just a very quick follow-up, yes or no. You're saying unequivocally the Justice Department is not investigating you, correct?
I've heard absolutely nothing.
They could be, and you might not have heard it, but okay, we'll move on.
So,
David?
First of all, the threat.
Lost
who's an AnCom again? The implicit threat here.
Fisk can fix it. That's all I get to say.
Well, but what I'm trying to get at is the implicit threat here is the very thing that Mamdani alluded to about that call. Like, I have no doubt that when Mamdani said the thing that I pointed out he shouldn't have said about a thing he can't prove, I have no doubt he's right that call happened.
Yeah.
But I can't fucking prove it, and I know I can't prove it because I don't have fucking phone records and subpoena power. It is what it is. And even if I had phone records and subpoena power, I can't tell what happened on that call because I wasn't recording it. Like, that's just the reality of that situation. But this right here is the kind of thing that would have happened in that call. This kind of potential, well, you better win this, Cuomo, or I'm going to have to take over New York if you let that damn dirty socialist win.
Yeah. That sounds like, what was it?
Mayor Kingpin.
Who's the guy?
Yeah.
Chesborough. It sounds like a Chesborough situation.
100%.
Sorry,
and furthermore,
sorry about that. My internet died on me.
You're fine. Roll it back about 20 seconds so you can watch that part when we get to this. But the other thing I'll point out is the way he said this, so casually. This should have terrified every New Yorker who was listening.
Yeah, here we go.
Anybody who
said that it was actually politically motivated. That does not back me up. When I'm fighting for New York, I am not going to stop. And I'll tell you something else. If the assemblyman is elected mayor, Donald Trump will take over New York City, and it will be Mayor Trump who runs New York City.
We have to move on. Just a very quick follow-up, yes or no?
I don't even know what the logic is behind that claim. Like, that's just...
The claim will be that anybody who would elect a Muslim socialist to be mayor of New York City, any election,
and he would be painting
would obviously have to be corrupt. Yes, that's. I mean, but this is something he has said. There is no way New York City would ever elect this guy. Anyway, any election that shows that he got elected is corrupt. He started this almost as soon as Mamdani started kicking the shit out of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now I understand the logic behind it. It's still bullshit, but...
Yep.
Agreed.
Here we go.
You're saying unequivocally the Justice Department is not investigating you, correct?
I've heard absolutely nothing.
They could be, and you might not have heard it, but okay, we'll move on. David?
Okay, thank you, Sally.
And pause there for a second,
That is
too.
virtually
I'll just point out that anybody who has ever done any research into criminal investigation processes, who's the last person to find out about an investigation?
Person under investigation.
Usually. It's not always, but usually. Usually you aren't told of an investigation until they're ready to file charges, asshole. Yeah. So you could have, and here's the thing, he's a lifelong politician from a lifelong political family. He should have known the correct answer here was, I have no knowledge of any investigation, and obviously no charges have been filed. So if there was an investigation, it couldn't have turned up much. Obviously that's bullshit because of the quid pro quo that we all think that he has done, just like Adams did. But at the same time, the answer was there, yet he couldn't say it because he knows that if he says it, they'll hold him to it.
Yeah.
So he has to feign ignorance. That he cannot say 100% no, there isn't one. He can't say, no, Trump promised me there isn't going to be an investigation because I'm his guy. He can't say these things.
Yeah.
All right.
I can't prove that's why he stumbled, but that's why I think he stumbled.
See, this is why I mentioned Kingpin earlier, right? Because I know in the comics, and I think we're seeing clues of this in the MCU as well, that, like, remember how Fisk, like, stops and there's this big old pothole that appeared, or whatever, he gets out of his car and looks at the pothole, and I don't even think he necessarily did it for political reasons, but it ended up helping him politically, and then it made him realize what he could do. And if you have, like, if you're going to follow the logic of Cuomo's argument here, he could be implying that Trump is going to come down on New York like a ton of bricks if Mamdani wins, and then you can conveniently blame that on Mamdani. And hey, what a great city you have here. Like, it'd be such a shame if something happened to it, right?
He did that with the implicit threat. He said it will be Mayor Trump. That's not he's going to come down on New York like a ton of bricks. That's literal. He's going to do an authoritarian takeover and do a no confidence fucking push on the New York election if Mamdani is elected. That's what that accusation is. That is an amazing utterance that any New Yorker who is fucking remembers the fucking 90s should have just had the fucking chill run down their spine. Like, what the fuck? This is like the goddamn Riot Squad back then level of fucking language.
Yeah.
And I grew up at a time when people had bumper stickers saying "Let them freeze in the dark" about New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Oh God. I've forgotten about those. Holy fucking memory unlocked. I forgot about those bumper stickers, Rich.
Yeah.
All right.
That's how much like city politics in New York matters, like around the country or even around the world, really.
I mean, it's less so today than it was when we were kids, but it's still really important.
All right, here we go.
I mean,
I'd say, let's go on.
So, Mr. Cuomo, you did put out an ad the day after the news first broke in the New York Times that you were under investigation, calling it a political investigation, saying they were coming after you as they had to, after other Democratic politicians. You haven't denied this previously.
That the Republican Congress was.
Get them,
yes,
Russo.
I believe they play politics with the justice system. Okay. I believe the Republican Congress does it. I believe Donald Trump does it. I believe the Democrats do it. And that's why I think people are sick and tired of the justice system and the politics.
If you think that there's no difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, then that's the candidate for you. If you think it's time to have a Democratic Party that actually stands up to Donald Trump and his billionaire-backed assault on working people,
thank you, Mr. Mamdani. You're not a Democrat, right? You're not a Democrat. You're a Democratic socialist. You didn't vote for Kamala Harris, right?
We have other ground to cover. No, we have other ground to cover.
For God's sake. Cuomo is the one who is no longer a Democrat. Ridiculous.
This is just,
this
is rich.
How often have we said this, Rich? Every accusation from these cunts is just projection.
But also, this is a really important point, I think. This is something like, you guys, it's no secret, you guys have heard me like bitching about like people who won't vote for the nominee in 2016 and in 2024 or whatever. And the response I always got back from them was, wait till it's on the other foot. You won't support the socialists. Well, here I fucking am supporting the socialists. Like he's the guy who's not a Republican. He's the guy who's not in Trump's back pocket. Yeah, of course I'm going to support him.
And here's the thing, like most people don't understand because like people have gotten so used to partisan politics. Mm-hmm. I am a communist. I have voted for Republicans when Republicans were the best fucking people for the job. It's not been fucking common, but it has happened on occasion just because of where I've lived in the country.
Right. No, believe me, I lived a year in New Jersey, and it was at a time when they had Chris Christie as governor, and I didn't have an opportunity to vote while I was there. But I might have been tempted to vote for him because Corzine was so unbelievably fucking corrupt that the Democrats absolutely had to yeet him. And so I understood why people voted Republican in that election in New Jersey. Like there's nothing.
And to go with a more abstract, go with a more pragmatic one.
New York and New Jersey.
Well, the one I would go with is more pragmatic and slightly abstract. For example. For city treasurer, I will more likely vote for a conservative with like a banking background than a fucking Democrat with a banking background, because that conservative's job is to make sure that nobody is fucking around with the fucking money. They're going to be a goddamn hawk to make sure that taxpayer funds are not being corrupted. That's the guy I want in that job.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is
sue me.
That we've all heard the pot calling the kettle black. Well, this is the sudden party switcher calling the Democrat not a Democrat.
Yeah.
No, agreed. And I will still point out that when it comes down
he
to
needs
it,
to come back with that answer too. He needs to come back and say, "Who's the nominee, motherfucker?"
Well, there's that, but it's also I will point out that if we actually have to evaluate this, and I honestly feel sick trying to even say it. Sliwa is more of a left-wing person in this debate than fucking I've ever seen him speak. And I think it is purely based on his hatred of fucking Cuomo. Like, anybody who lived through the 90s and fucking or 80s and 90s and remember the fucking guardian angels hitting national news on a regular fucking basis and the fucking crimes that this fucking gang committed under Sliwa's direction. How the fuck did this guy ever get to this? Like, what? I have literally heard this guy yell the N-word at fucking Al Sharpton in person.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's where we are now. When a party has internally received enough weakness to where, like, the moderates want to leave it, all that the only way you can appeal to the base that's left is to expand your base to people who you otherwise would have excluded from your party.
Well, no, but my point is this: is Sliwa is moderating in a way that the Republicans aren't. That's what's shocking me, Rich. This guy is moderating. The Republicans are getting worse.
Jack, we've already read the Young Republicans, what is it, like, chat group? They start them young.
I still want to get a
young.
I still want to get a leak of all 29.
Outdid them. Did you see that?
Yeah.
The congressman that had the swastika in the background of his office.
Well, but here's the thing, and I've looked into this. That would not have been the congressman's area. Where that was placed in the office, it would have been a staffer. And here's the thing, I couldn't tell.
Put something like that up, and nobody knows.
This is what I was getting to. I looked at those photos as close as I could with like metadata and zooming in, looking at it pixel by pixel around the edge. It could have been digitally manipulated and not real. I can't tell. I know that is a claim, but even if it is 100% real, who says that? Who said? Yeah, no, and I hope that they do find out. But if it is real, I can't blame that on that senator or statesman. I can blame it on his assistant, and what I can then do is go, well, if you allowed this, either you were ignorant of it or you were permissive of it.
Well, I think
and both of those things require an investigation.
I don't know if anybody saw Peacemaker, but there's Peacemaker like misses certain clues when he goes to Earth X, and it's like that. It's that. Somebody else goes into that same universe and then says, how did you miss all of this, all these context clues? And the reason he missed was because he comes from a world where it's not particularly noticeable, right? And I think
that's why I said he's either ignorant or permissive. And that would warrant a further investigation. So let him investigate. Yeah. Investigate if it's a real photo. If it's a real photo, now we have to investigate you.
All right.
Go on.
I mean, surely they're going to fire that aide at the very least.
Hopefully. I mean, if not, they at least shift them like a priest.
We may have a chance to address it, but we do have a lot of issues to get to with New Yorkers.
I'll be very quick.
You didn't say leave it blank in the Kamala
I'll be very
campaign?
quick. I said leave it blank in the presidential primary because primaries are a place to air dissent. And like many Americans, I was horrified by the Israeli genocide of Palestinians. And if you want to look for me on the ballot, you'll find me as the Democrat.
Mr. Mamdani, thank you. We have to move on.
There you go.
This week, the world is reacting.
He hit both of your fucking points with that one. Thank you.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming. That's why I was like, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Like I said,
President Trump's Israel-Hamas peace deal and the release of the hostages. And many are cautiously optimistic about a lasting peace. Of course, the mayor has no direct
I just wanted to run in and be like, motherfucker, it's already failed. Why is this question still on the list?
This war has been a major topic in the campaign. And there are criticisms about your positions in the past and how you envision leading on these issues as mayor. So we have questions for all of you, but first for Mr. Mamdani, because of something you said that's been generating headlines in the news today as we come into the debate.
Because I couldn't hear Rich. I got to turn him up. What were you saying?
How is it that the obvious nickname that Sliwa should have is Sleestack? He kind of looks like a Sleestack, right? He's got maybe the functions of a Sleestack. That should be his nickname.
No, well, the problem is we all know him. And by the way, I did figure out who the character that is based on Sliwa. It's fucking Wilson Fisk kid, Richard Fisk. Remember when he eventually basically becomes a criminal gang boss, and he does like the red hair? Yeah, that's who Sliwa is. He is
Rich is saying something. Slee stack? I don't know what that is.
Oh, sorry, it's an old sci-fi reference. Slee stacks are. There was an old TV show called The Land of the Lost, and there were these sort of lizard aliens called Slee stacks that were kind of the villain.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. The only reason why I laughed at it but didn't go further into it is because I really hate using lizard references even when appropriate, because then we get accused of the lizard people fucking conspiracy bullshit. It's like, no, it's just a joke.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was a connection there, though.
If Slee stacks and lizard
did the
people.
Conspiracy theory come before or after that?
Long before. We've had.
I was gonna say the lizard people thing goes back to classic anti-Semitism. So yeah,
it goes back to even before that. It goes back to before Jews existed. Like seriously.
Theory that there's lizard-like aliens that control the government. That comes from one particular
lizard-like iteties that control the world goes all the way back to mythology.
Well, yes, yeah. I know. But I just mean that one particular iteration of shape-shifting lizard aliens controlling the world that came from, who I'm talking about, the Nutbar that wrote all the books about it.
Well, there's several. There's several of those Nutbars, because I don't know which one you're talking about, because you could be talking about Gerardidis, who did the Anunnaki fucking books in the 1800s or early 1900s, not the late 1800s. It depends on which one you're talking about, because we have had lizard people control. David Icke.
Oh yeah, David Icke.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Icke is he didn't originate that, he popularized that in America.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, David Icke is a piece of shit white supremacist.
I mean, I always took it as a code for Jews, but
that is the more modern version, but no, this goes all the way back to mythology. Then as tribal government gave way to more nationalized government, it became tropes that were used in tabloids. It was never taken seriously back then, but it was used as slurs, insults, shit like that back in ancient Sumeria. And this has been a thing for a very long time, because lizards, snakes, etc., elicit a particular emotional response from a certain percentage of the population. There's just a certain instinctual reaction to reptiles for whatever reason. We can hypothesize what it is, but that is what most likely leads to it. And when we know that the oldest form of religion on the world is first ancestor worship, and then laterally animism and nature worship, it would only make sense that the things we're afraid of are equal to the things that we worship, and therefore they'd also come from nature, etc. Yeah. So this is very old shit. That's all. But don't give David Icke too much credit. He's a piece of shit. He just stole it from other people. He stole it from older pieces of shit.
Right.
Okay, go on. Now, Despy, the one thing I will say, this young lady's hands are amazing. Is your ASL skills decent? No. She is fucking so fast.
Yep.
I wish I understood the language better to be able to actually understand what she's saying to see if she's accurate. But the hand motions are so quick and clear to read. It's fucking amazing. She's the best one out of the three that come up in this debate. Go on.
Keep going.
Yesterday on Fox News, you were asked if Hamas should lay down its weapons, key to the peace plan and ceasefire. And some say they found your answer confusing. You said, quote, "I don't really have opinions about the future of Hamas and Israel beyond the question of justice and safety and the fact that anything has to abide by international law." And that applies to Hamas, and that applies to the Israeli military. So for the voters tuning in tonight, Mr. Mamdani, what do you believe about Hamas, and how lasting peace will be achieved? We know it's a complicated matter, but we'd like you to keep your answer to a minute if you could.
Of course, I believe that they should lay down their arms. I'm proud to be one of the first elected officials in the state who called for a ceasefire. And calling for a ceasefire means seizing fire. That means all parties have to cease fire and put down their weapons. And the reason that we call for that is not only for the end of the genocide, but also an unimpeded access of humanitarian aid. I, like many New Yorkers, am hopeful that this ceasefire will hold. I'm hopeful that it is durable. I'm hopeful that it is just. And for it to be just, we also have to ensure that it addresses the conditions that preceded this, conditions like occupation, like the siege, and apartheid. And that is what I'm hopeful for.
Yeah. If I may, that means from the river to the sea.
I'm being marginalized out of this.
I'm sorry.
It's a debate of three. Excuse me, Andrew. It's a debate of three. Do we acknowledge that? Three people?
Mr. Sliwa, go ahead, and we'll give you a second. Go ahead, Mr. Sliwa.
The President of the United States should have been applauded.
The thing is he didn't say anything that was objectionable or even worthy of comment. It was literally the baseline middle ground of what everybody should be feeling on this.
The Persian Gulf. I certainly applauded him for bringing peace to Gaza and trying to end the hostilities in the war between the Israelis and Hamas, so there can be peace between the Israelis and peace between the Palestinians. But you seem, Zohran, to be incapable of praising our president. And Andrew, you were incapable of praising our president.
Gentlemen, we have
Give credit where credit is due. He's brought peace to Gaza.
Yeah, gentlemen, we want to hear everything you have to say. We have other questions on this matter. Mr. Cuomo, please, brief response, because we do have other questions on this issue that you may be able to address. Go ahead.
I did applaud President Trump and his administration. I think it was a great accomplishment. I hope the peace holds. The assemblyman will not denounce Hamas. The assemblyman will not denounce Hassan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11.
Oh,
the assemblyman
God,
just said in his
Hasanabi
response,
is getting brought up in this shit.
It depends on occupation. That is code, meaning that Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish state, which he has never acknowledged. That is from the river to the sea. That's why he won't denounce globalize the Intifada, which means kill all Jews.
Let's give Mr. Mamdani a chance to respond to that.
I want to be very clear. The occupation...
All right. So they've all three had a chance to respond to all of this, to this question here.
Well, the thing is it gets complicated because it's like, yes, this is an extremely complex situation, but globalize the Intifada is not kill all Jews. Globalize the Intifada is a horrible fucking slogan to me, in my opinion, but it is not the same thing as saying, we have other fucking flags for that shit for brains. They literally put it on flags. We don't need to make up what this means.
Yeah.
Like, that's first. But the other problem is you don't condemn Hamas. We condemn the actions of Hamas. Hamas are created through a project of oppression and a whole bunch of other shit. Do I condemn them as people? No. They're fucking people facing insurmountable bullshit that just chose something that I don't want them to choose. So I fucking condemn their actions. You don't have to condemn people who have no other fucking choices before them besides join this fucking horrible group because you literally see no other option in this open air prison you live in. Or like, come on, man. Yeah, like I can't guarantee you I would choose the right in that situation.
Yeah, like there's a distinction. There's a distinction between resisting oppression and all of the other shit that Hamas does, and like to a point, Hamas is doing like what is protected under UN human rights. They are resisting oppression. They're also doing a bunch of other shit that is awful.
Yeah, that's the point.
But
I can condemn the actions because the actions are what are wrong. These people are fucking desperate. That's the reason I can't condemn them. In that desperation, what would I do? What would you do? I don't fucking know. I don't know if I'd make the same choice they did or a different choice. I hope I'd make a different choice. But I can't guarantee it. None of us can. We don't know what you're like until you're against that wall.
All right, Jack, one thing I want to ask you about. So, Cuomo made a claim that I've heard a lot of people make before. I don't agree that's what it means, but I'm curious. When he said, from the river to the sea means that Israel shouldn't exist. Do you agree with that sentiment?
He said, and just to be fair to him, because I don't want to misquote him, He said that it means that Israel does not have the right to exist as a Jewish state. If what he said is what we are addressing, I would agree that that is what it means. Because from the river to the sea is the integration one state solution. So that would be the end of it as a Jewish state. Is it the end of it as a country? No. Is it the end of all Jewish people in that country? No. I understand. Yeah, but I'm addressing Cuomo's dumb shit. Now, if you are talking about how it is addressed by Hamas, because let's be honest, we do have to delineate between Palestinians and Hamas. Hamas means it exactly as Cuomo is saying it. And I have to admit that. I have to be honest.
Yeah. But I think it's possible to use
bullshit. Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's possible to use that phrase even just being an outside supporter of Palestine to advocate for Palestinian freedom in whatever form.
But it is an end of it as a Jewish state, because to me, that is an integrated state is an end of it as a Jewish state because it's no longer an ethno state. It would now be an Israeli state, both of Jews and Arabs, etc. That is, in my idea, the ideal. I don't personally think it's possible because of a bunch of other shit we don't need to get into, but it is the ideal of what that phrasing is supposed to be.
And that is,
unfortunately, both sides have corrupted that phrase. Go on.
To be fair, the original phrase did mean that no Israel. But
yes,
that was at a time when people were losing their homes because they lived on the wrong side of a border or whatever.
And that was at the time when Britain was the part of taking that land. There was a lot that went into this shit. That's why I said this is very complicated. It goes back to the 1880s. We don't have time for a history lesson, and Despy will fucking strangle us all. He will fly back to the U.S. just to kill us.
That'll be a hell of a trip going from Texas to Arkansas to Massachusetts just to commit a triple homicide.
Torture is how we express, people's, ability to feel life. That's exactly what I'd be doing. I'd be doing exactly what Stephen Miller would do in this situation.
Torture is a celebration of life. Yep.
But going back to this is yes, here's the reality. You condemn the actions of Hamas, you don't condemn Hamas, because none of us can guarantee we wouldn't make the same goddamn choice when faced with starvation and watching our friends get shot in the fucking head. Yeah. You just don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why when people say, "Oh, I would never be a gangbanger," go be poor for 3 generations and live in those areas and tell me that when they come offering you tens of thousands of dollars a week for drug dealing, that it doesn't immediately tickle your interest.
I once knew a Vietnam vet who had been severely, impacted by the war, whatever, and he came back like a raging racist against Asians. I understand why he's the way he is. Would I give him any modicum of power? No. So I think it's the same way. I can understand why Hamas believes what it does, but they shouldn't be running a country.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go on.
The only thing I was going to say is if you grow up in a family with a lot of kids, maybe a single mom taking care of a lot of kids, you live in a rough neighborhood, and you're not making ends meet, and people are going hungry in your family, and someone says, "Hey, no questions asked. Take this package over here, and I'll pay you." You're probably going to do it.
Yeah, that's just the reality. People want to always assume that in their situation, because in your current situation, you never would. Well, you're not desperate right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're not facing starvation. You're not facing the prospect of your children starving or watching your sister not get medication and dying. That's what these people are facing when they're making these decisions. Is it a good decision to make? No. I could say that, objectively, but I can understand why they make it.
If you have to watch your own child get a limb amputated without anesthetic, it'll drive people insane. It would drive me insane if I had to watch that.
Oh yeah, I don't. I don't think I could do it. Like honestly,
Yeah, no,
like my wife might be able to because of the medical stuff,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like
It would drive.
I would become. I would see red, and I don't know what I would do after that. But yeah,
Exactly.
I'm kind of in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right.
and that's the reality that we all have to admit, and then go on. Yeah, I was about to say, let's go on.
Is a reference to international law and the violation of it, which Mr. Cuomo has no regard for since he signed up to be Benjamin Netanyahu's legal defense team during the course of this genocide. And I find the comments that Hassan made on 9/11 to be objectionable and reprehensible. And I also think that part of the reason why Democrats are in the situation that we are in, of being a permanent minority in this country, is we are looking only to speak to journalists and streamers and Americans with whom we agree of every single thing that they say. We need to take the case to every person, and I'm happy to do that, which is why I was on Fox News yesterday talking about how I wish it was more like NASCAR, so we could see all the billionaires who are sponsoring you right on your suit jacket.
Melissa has another
We're going to turn it to Sally.
Can I just say he's taking a page out of Buttigieg's book, which I think is hilarious because they're very different ideologically, but stylistically they have a lot in common in terms of how they know how to talk to the voter.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
mean,
going to say he
Buttigieg-
reminds me. I was going to say he reminds me very much of more like an Oliver-esque delivery, John Oliver-esque delivery, just without the accent. Is how Mamdani comes off.
But I mean,
And the jokes,
he knows
like
how
the
to go on
quips.
Fox News and talk to them, which is
Yeah,
that's also true of
I
Buttigieg.
think that regardless of Buttigieg's ideology, he knows how to talk. He's very good at presentation, and I
They're
think
both-
Mamdani
to put this in simple
is in the
quotes, they're both
same-
charismatic.
Yes, yeah.
And they both had good message discipline, which is rare.
Yeah, no, you're actually you're right. They very rarely stray off topic for more than 2 or 3 sentences. Like they're very
as
good
opposed
about
to
that.
us.
No, we're fucking well, but we're nerds talking about this, to where we're trying to give this kind of like an everyman approach to where,
Somebody
hey,
had to
this,
bring up trains. I'm just saying it.
yeah. Well,
Yes,
that's
that
their
was
fault.
Mamdani. Mamdani trains.
Yeah. Now that being said,
Train.
now that being said, what I will say is, you because we're still in the very slow speed, they haven't started picking up speed. Maybe kick it up to 1.25 because it's not going to change their voice appreciable enough to where, but it might help us not get distracted because their pauses won't last long enough.
The only thing I'm going to say is that like Mamdani keeps kicking Cuomo in the nuts with these little quips that he's throwing in there. And I'm all for it.
I know you're all for these. I'm waiting for the ones that come later when Sliwa puts on the steel toe boots and takes turns.
Yeah. All right. I'm putting out 1.25, and I'm starting it now.
Yeah, just because. Yeah, they're not heated. We
Actually,
don't.
this kind of flows, and then we'll go back to Melissa. Mr. Mamdani, you told NBC's Meet the Press that you don't believe it's the role of the mayor to police speech. Your words about this war have comforted many New Yorkers, but they've troubled others, and I want to ask about some of this. There is your recent refusal, as we just discussed, to condemn the slogan, globalize the Intifada, which many view as a call to arms. In 2017, you rapped lyrics praising the Holy Land Five. These are men who were convicted of supporting terrorism. How would you assure New Yorkers, especially Jewish residents who might be concerned about this, that you would be a mayor for all? You have 1 minute to answer this.
Thank you for this opportunity. When I'm speaking about the responsibility of leading this city, I mean leading not just those who voted for me, leading not just those who vote, but leading every single person who calls the city home. And that includes Jewish New Yorkers. And I have been so thankful for the opportunity I've had to sit with so many Jewish New Yorkers over the course of the primary and through the general. And it's in those conversations that I learned that this phrase evokes many painful memories of bus attacks in Haifa, of restaurant attacks in Jerusalem. And I heard from a rabbi about their roommate who was killed on one of those buses. And in hearing that and the distance between that impact and the rationale that some use of saying it, of speaking about the Israeli occupation of Palestinian land, is why I said that I would discourage this language that I do not use. And what I'm looking to do as the first Muslim mayor of this city is to ensure that we bring every New Yorker together. Jewish New Yorkers, Muslim New Yorkers, every single person that calls the city home.
Okay.
That they understand they won't just be protected, but they will belong.
Mr. Sliwa, we will get to you first. I'm going to ask a question of Mr. Cuomo.
All right.
Okay, so perfect answer to the question. Slightly wordy. Other than that, because the answer is I'm not going to condemn the slogan because while the memories are very real, the concept of countering oppression is not. So I can say that I would not do it myself, but I can't condemn it.
Yeah.
Discouraging and condemning are very different things, but it's still, you're trying to tell people not to do it just for different reasons.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is kind of like the language. What was it? George W. Bush used during like the beginnings of the what is it? The
Secondary push, yeah.
The Iraqi
the secondary push into Iraq.
Where he literally said it was going to be a crusade. The term crusade means something entirely different to people who are not Christian living in that area.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
and that's kind of my point. Is it's like, and this ties the last one, and we're about to get Sliwa's fucking putting on his steel toes. He's got him lacing up here in a second. The reality of this is the reality of this is complicated, and if you don't know enough about it, your answer should be as nuanced as possible of, I don't know, but this looks bad. Or, I don't know, I'll look into this, but I don't like that. Like, you don't have to be crazy, but you do have to fucking actually understand none of this is black and white. Mm-hmm. There's very few conflicts that are, especially ones that go on for 80 fucking years.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's too many generations to explain too much shit. And that's why I think that was a perfect answer that and I'm going to complain about being wordy here, but I'm not on stage going for mayor.
Okay.
But I'm not on stage trying to become mayor. So that's...
Does anybody want to do a welfare check on Jack and see if there's a gun pointed to his head? Because he just said that he was saying someone was being too wordy.
No, I'm just being honest. It's like when I'm on, like if I was in this situation, like if we were doing a panel with like Prime or something like that, that would have been me overstepping.
4 more minutes.
I would, and I would be wrong for doing it. Again, this is why you should not elect me mayor, but you should listen to my evaluation of people, because I know when people are fucking up. I do it myself. I know the signs well.
If you want an angry bald guy to be mayor, that would be Fisk.
All right, AnCom, do you got anything?
I'm good.
Okay.
Oh wait, hold on. I do have a question for AnCom though. AnCom, what is Boston's particular feeling about Sliwa? Because I have never actually had that conversation in Boston, and just like a quick sentence or two.
My sentence is, I've never heard of Sliwa before this election.
That's just amazing to me. Okay, never mind. Go on.
That actually surprised me. I knew who he was because of the pop culture references of him actually being like in movies and scenes from things where they actually have him walking around in the background
in the red beret with his buddies. Yeah,
exactly.
In the white smock shirt, I forget what the movie was now, but he's even, if I'm remembering correctly, it's either a Disney movie or like one of those Disney like clone movies where he's walking in the background of like kids movies and shit.
Or it's like one of those like after school specials like sort of thing.
Yeah, the PSAs so that's surprising to me, but it also could be age that. You might just be young enough where you don't remember anything about him.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned the Guardian Angels earlier. That was the first I've ever heard of this organization.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
It was a long time ago. Like, yeah.
They're still active to this day.
In the Midwest, and I know who these guys are.
I know, but they're still active to this day.
I grew up in Northern California. I didn't know much, or like almost any of this shit, and I haven't learned it.
I always forget that because your accent has changed so much to be more New Englander. You don't sound like you grew up. You don't sound like you're from Boston, but you definitely sound like you're from New England or Midwest as opposed to Northern California.
Like, we would only ever know because of that, unless we were from New York.
Yeah, Yeah, like it's one of those things I could pick it out, but if somebody pegged me to like pick where you're from, I'd be like, middle Massachusetts. Like I wouldn't even be able to give you a town.
Yeah, like I always figured I had the generic accent. About the only thing that gives away my Northern California upbringing from how I speak is my preferred, I don't even know what to call it, is hella. Because that's a very Northern California thing. Like if you're from Massachusetts, you say wicked, right? If you're from Northern California, you say hella. So
yeah. Now that being said, the point that we're about to get into is Sliwa. For those of you in the audience who have not wanted to fucking strangle us or gone to sleep, pay attention to the way this motherfucker talks here in a second. Because this is a person whose members of his gang have like kidnapped people and like beaten them for like days in like abandoned buildings. And some of those people were people of color of different faiths and for very obvious reasons. Yeah, the shit was...
as long as he didn't kill them, it was a celebration of life.
We'll just say that Sliwa has been known to talk with many people from many different backgrounds.
Now, here's the thing. I can't guarantee you that Sliwa ever did any of that violence. I just couldn't tell you. But I can say that we know that members of his gang have gone to prison for it. So even if he never did it and never ordered it, he hung out with some people who did some fucked up shit to people.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to keep it going.
Strong supporter of Israel. You have also been slow to develop a relationship with the city's Muslim community. You have called Mr. Mamdani a terrorist sympathizer. How do you assure those New Yorkers, especially Muslims and Arabic New Yorkers, that you will be a mayor for all? You'll have 1 minute.
Yeah, well, first, I think the assemblyman created the perception himself. Why wouldn't he condemn Hamas? Why wouldn't he condemn Hassan Piker? Why did it take us here tonight for the first time for him to say it? He still won't denounce, globalize the intifada, which means kill all Jews. Just say, I denounce it. He won't do it. That's the issue.
Mr.
And his
Cuomo,
divisiveness
can you address the question
is
that we're putting
chronic.
to you? I think you've made the point, but can you please answer about your own relationship with the Muslim community? You did not visit mosques for many years. More recently, you have been.
Yeah, I don't think in any way the assemblyman is representative of the Muslim community, which is a vital community in New York City. And I am very fond of, and I've been working with. I think he's playing his own politics. Many of his positions don't even follow the Muslim faith. So I see them as two totally separate things.
Mr. Mamdani, want to respond?
You know, it took Andrew Cuomo being beaten by a Muslim candidate in the Democratic primary for him to set foot in a mosque. He had more than 10 years, and he couldn't name a single mosque at the last debate we had that he visited. And what Muslims want in this city is what every community wants and deserves. They want equality, and they want respect. And it took me to get you to even see those Muslims as part of this city. And that, frankly, is something that is shameful and is why so many New Yorkers have lost faith in this politics.
Yeah, except, that's totally false. I've worked with the Muslim community for many years.
Name a single mosque you went to when you were the governor. Can you name a single mosque you went to in 10 years?
Before you were ever here.
Before I was here?
Before you were even in state government. I worked with the Muslim community. Imams presided over State of the States. We worked in religious working groups, tolerance groups, anti-Semitic groups, etc.
All right, gentlemen. Mr. Sliwa, Rosemary has a specific question for you, but I'll give you a second.
Zohran, this is what disturbs me about you. You will be celebrating your birthday this weekend.
Mamdani, you secular prick. That's all you had to say. I'm secular. My religion shouldn't affect my politics. And move on. You didn't have to say anything else. You would have got the same nut shot in fewer words. Go on.
1991, I was in the streets of Crown Heights with the Guardian Angels for 30 days and 30 nights when the first Democratic Socialist mayor of New York City, that's right, David Dinkins, who was a proud member of the Democratic Socialists of America, abandoned the Jews for 3 days. They were left to their own means. And we protected them for 30 days and 30 nights. Then your favorite mayor, Bill de Blasio, in 2019, abandoned the Jews again when they were being attacked in Williamsburg and Borough Park and Crown Heights. And I had to bring the Guardian Angels in for 30 days, 30 nights. Jews don't trust that you are going to be there for them when they are victims of anti-Semitic attacks.
If it had been 40 days and 40
We have a
nights,
specific question for you from Rosemary.
Yeah, well, that would require someone to be able to read. I don't know if Sliwa
True.
He's more of an oral tradition sort of person.
Well, see, my issue with this is it's not even a true statement. It's partially true. because he did protect a bunch of Jewish people, as long as they had money. Like, it came out years later that the accusations of that this was really just a big protection racket that he ran on him during this time when, admittedly, the mayors did do fucking dumb shit and like pull cops out of areas that they shouldn't have. Now, some of it was budgetary, some of it could have been racial, like that. I don't fucking know. I don't think anybody really fucking knows all of it. It was wild times when both of these situations happened. But at the same time, he only protected the rich people. He didn't protect the poor people. The poor people are the people he slammed into walls and threw into fucking dumpsters to protect those rich people. Didn't care if they were Jewish.
Just a quick question. I just need to know which political party is he the candidate for again?
I'm just pointing out that. Oh, goddamn!
Not bad of a question, huh?
No, it's allergies. That being said, what he is a piece of shit. This is not it. But what I'm pointing this out because most people who are going to be voting in this election, most of the people who are going to be voting this election that are going to be the most important, don't know who the fuck Sliwa is, to my knowledge, because based on what AnCom's telling me, who I really thought would know because he comes from a town that had a big Guardian Angels chapter, fucking very close to New York City, etc., had no knowledge. And he's old enough to where I really thought he should know if he lived anywhere in the country, let alone now living in fucking Boston. So I'm now worried about the 20s to 30-year-olds who are going to be a very, very large amount of the population who vote in this mayoral election, who may not know who the fuck this asshole is.
Yeah.
Or who the Guardian Angels are, for that matter.
No. If you've lived in New York, if you see red berets, you get the fuck out of the way. Like, if you've ever spent any time in New York for any length of time, to move away from that. Like, that's kind of my point. Like, there are certain people I understand not knowing about Sliwa, but very few. Like, I can understand somebody like Despy, like, if he had not known, would have made sense. He grew up in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Kansas. But growing up in spitting distance of fucking the city, or living within spitting distance of a city where this asshole is active, like that's shocking to me. It's like not knowing who Arnold Schwarzenegger is, but for different reasons that are much, much worse.
It's interesting because I just looked it up, and apparently the Guardian Angels are active in Sacramento, which was about 2.5 hours south of where I didn't even
know they were active in California. Okay, see,
Sacramento and Stockton, according to Wikipedia.
I thought they were only active in mostly New England. Oh, never mind. Anyways, that's fucking funny.
The Gotham chapter of Guardian Angels.
Wait, isn't Stockton like fucking hillbilly red country central? I've been a long time since I've been to California. Am I misremembering?
I wouldn't call it hillbilly. I would say it's, it's a smallish city. Yeah, it's a smaller city in the valley. It's probably pretty red as far as like politically speaking, but it's
right,
the way you're sounding. I'm definitely misremembering. Just go on.
Just let me ask. This will be the main question. How many people had houses with at least 6 to 7 non-functioning vehicles, with different parts and pieces taken off those vehicles inside their front lawn?
I would say fewer than 5%, probably less.
All right. Okay. So there weren't a lot of rednecks.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I knew just based on the sound of his voice, I was misremembering this place. I must be thinking of something that sounds similar that's in Northern California.
All right.
But yeah, go on.
Mr. Mamdani, please.
I agree,
Thank
by
you.
the way.
One of the most meaningful experiences I've had over the course of this campaign has been the conversations I've had with Jewish New Yorkers. Jewish New Yorkers who've told me about the door that they've had to lock that they had kept open for 40 years. Jewish New Yorkers who've told me on the M57 about an apartment the speech therapist was trying to sell when a realtor told her, put the Jewish books off the table. Jewish New Yorkers who've told me about their fear in living in this city. And I will be a mayor who finally addresses that, not through the theatrics of the politics on the stage, but through action. I'll do that by ensuring that we have police officers outside of synagogues and the high holy days.
Gentlemen, we have a lot to get to, and we do have a specific question for Mr. Sliwa. Rosarina.
Thank you, David. Mr. Sliwa, you've called for tougher policing of pro-Palestinian protests, and you've suggested that Mr. Mamdani uses languages that is anti-Semitic. How do you assure New Yorkers that you'll be the mayor for all?
Well, I've been there for all people in all times for 46 years as leader of the Guardian Angels here and around the world. Whether it is a religious violation of people's rights to worship as they choose in a mosque, in a church, in a synagogue, or a shul, whether it's because of racial identity. Remember, in the summer of 2020, Asians were under constant attack because of the lockdown and pandemic. I don't remember Governor Cuomo coming to their aid. You were the governor then. I was out there going into all the neighborhoods, Flushing, Bayside. We were in down in Bensonhurst. We were in Chinatown itself, where Asians were being attacked indiscriminately because they were thought to be carrying COVID. We protected them then. Governor, you were not there for them. De Blasio was not there for them. We understand hate. And in order to counteract hate, you have to get the community involved along with the police to protect people when they're under siege. Jews are under attack now more than ever before. And I don't believe either of you have the capability.
100%. He didn't care. Poor, rich. If you were getting attacked for fucking bigotry during Corona for fucking being Asian, he fucking stood up for you. I gotta actually give him that one.
Yeah, because
I dislike this prick viscerally, but
yeah, in 2020, the Kung Flu, meme was going around, and it was so bad that I was talking with the wife like we want to make sure that we make sure that like things are good. You wouldn't want to be in the U.S. right now. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And my wife isn't even Chinese.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's be honest. As much as I hate to do the stereotype, if I were to put a Chinese, a Korean, a Japanese, a Laotian, a Indian, a Singaporean, and a fucking Filipino all side by side, most Americans couldn't tell you which was which, and most of them would say they're all Chinese.
So, Khan, are you Chinese or Japanese?
To be entirely fair, like, I could distinguish between South Asian, Southeast Asian, and East Asian, but beyond that, like, I don't know that I could reliably differentiate someone from China, someone from Korea, and someone from Japan.
If you've never traveled Southeast Asia, it is very difficult with outside of hearing the language. Just looking at people, it is extremely difficult to understand like phenotypic response like this.
Yeah. If I hear them speak, usually I can figure out in a few sentences what language it is. But beyond that, yeah, I would.
Or at least it's a language I don't know. Like I can't. I've never heard that one. Yeah. And that's kind of my point.
Yeah, like generally I know what Japanese, Korean, and Mandarin sound like. I can pick out like Tagalog and a few others.
And here's the thing: Despi lives in Asia for over a decade. I lived there for like 18 months. It wasn't very long. He and I could probably do it fairly accurately with the speech as well. We're still going to be utter fucking garbage because of how complex these regions are. Mm-hmm. Japan has 270 dialects. China had 28,000.
Yeah, well, and inside of China itself, the number of dialects directly next, like in one particular area, there might be 100 that you can converse with, but once you get outside that region there, you're not going to be able to converse with people around you.
Yeah. Like, this is what, as much as Mao is a piece of shit, standardizing language is probably the only thing he did right. Because it's one of the things.
technically he wasn't the one that did it first. He
did it by force.
Well,
so everybody had to listen.
Well, I mean, I get that, but the thing is that like that's where the simplified characters had basically come in, but they had basically had like a written standard in traditional characters. I think, if I'm not mistaken, going back to like the 1400s. It was right.
I would have to dig, but that sounds about right.
It's right around the time when the Mongols are leaving, and the Chinese are taking control again. And it's kind of
when you start getting the consolidating of the kingdoms.
You all need to write the same thing, or the new people coming in saying, "Hey, we should all write the same thing."
Yeah, I forget the exact time period, but it sounds about right. But you're talking about the first reconsolidation of the Middle Kingdoms after the Mongols left. Yeah,
right.
I know the time period you're talking about. I just can't remember the exact years of that time period.
The Ming Dynasty. I think it might be the Ming Dynasty.
I believe you're correct, and I believe it was the 1430s. But too many years since I picked up these history books, so I don't want to say anything specific. Yeah. That being said, this is way off topic, but it going back to what we're saying here is this is dramatically different shit than what you're trying to deal with. But that colossal bigoted piece of garbage, did defend people from unjustified bigotry over an illness, and I hate him. I dislike everything about Curtis Sliwa, but he did a good thing there.
He's out of line, but he's right.
That is pure fiction.
He did. By the way, he even did it for people that normally he had abused, like Muslims from Asia as well.
We tolerate no hatred, no discrimination. We are from every place on this globe.
Unless it's you that's perpetrating it.
Excuse me. And we're tolerant and we accept. If you notice, the assemblyman still won't say he believes that Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish state. He is a divisive personality all across the board. NYPD are racist. Barack Obama is evil, liar, and he gave the finger to the Christopher Columbus statue.
By the way, Cuomo, your laws with no cash bail turn the haters right back in the street to violate and attack again and again and again.
Thank you.
You're the reason for that. No cash bail.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Thank you. Go ahead.
There have been a number of absolutely unfounded lies that have been said by Andrew Cuomo. I would just like a moment to address them directly. I've said time and again that I recognize Israel's right to exist. I've said that I will not recognize any states. I said that I will not.
As a Jewish state.
If I would be allowed to finish, that I would not recognize any state's right to exist with a system of hierarchy on the basis of race or religion. I have made that very clear. And part of that is because I'm an American who believes in the importance of equal rights being enshrined in every single country, whether we're speaking about Israel, whether we're speaking about Saudi Arabia. You can stand here and you can lie all you want, but New Yorkers know
the answer to the question. We want
to address some issues here.
All right, and we have another polarizing issue that we would love to discuss with you candidates. And let's talk about the National Guard here in the city of New York. Now, let's go back to Mr. President Donald Trump. One threat hanging over the city is the deployment of the National Guard troops, like he has done, as you all know, in other cities. The NYPD commissioner has rejected the idea as unnecessary, but the president ordered troops to hit the streets of New York. Now, how would you respond? Mr. Sliwa, you have a minute.
There's no need for the National Guard in New York. Kathy Hochul, the governor, when we had a crime crisis in the subways that I'm well familiar with, being down there all the time, unlike my two adversaries, she sent 750 National Guardsmen down into the subways in 2024. Remember the horrible case of Mamdani Cuomo. Does anybody even say her name anymore? That woman who was set on fire by that migrant. As a result of that, the worst crime I've ever seen committed in the subway system, the governor did the right thing. She sent an additional 250 National Guardsmen, giving us a total of 1,000 National Guardsmen in the subway system, while our mayor, Eric Adams, was telling us it was all a perception. So Governor Hochul has responded. I would tell the President of the United States, since I'm familiar with cities all across America having guardian angels there, if you were going to send the National Guard, you don't need to send them to New York City. There are other cities that could desperately use their help in dealing with their crime crisis.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa. Mr. Mamdani, how would you?
All right, so let's get the list of cities that need the National Guard in them currently.
The ones that have them are, as far as I'm aware, Los Angeles, D.C., and Chicago. I don't know if any others have had them.
Well, but here's my point. Like,
need them, because he was saying cities that need them. So I want to know.
Let me put this into perspective for Mr. Sliwa. Let me put this into perspective for Mr. Sliwa. There has not been a major city within the United States that has needed the National Guard in a while. There has been a few where it may have been nice. There have been a few where it may have made things more smoothly. But we have not actually had national riots that may have required it since 2020, and even that was mainly blown up because most of those, 97% of those protests were peaceful. The three that were really fucking violent were really, really fucking violent, unfortunately, and it colored the rest. And it was required then, but we don't generally need it. The time he's talking about where Hochul sent in 750 troops for a single act of crime. Don't get me wrong, this fucking crime was horrible. I'm not going to sit here and deny that this crime was fucking absolutely god-awful. But National Guard are required for an immolation? Huh?
Yeah.
What?
There's also, what is it? I was going to say, they send the National Guard in for things like Kent University, and someone ends up getting shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
or they
have
said
examples of where this is not something you want to do.
We lost Rich. He must have got to work.
Yeah. Like, this is not something you want to do, especially when there is peaceful protest going on.
Well, just more my point is, if we want to go by the strictest definitions, most of the cities in the country that could have used the National Guard haven't needed the National Guard since the mid-90s, since the peak of the murder spike in the 90s. Beyond that, we haven't needed it. We have a militarized police. We need fucking police to actually, be proactive rather than reactive. I.e., hey, let's drive through the town and, hey, buddy, you're on the side of the road looking like you might need a hand. Instead of going off and committing crime, let me give you a ride over to that library you're trying to get to before the gang can go. Fuck's sake. I would be a fan of cops if they did shit like that.
Well,
now, don't get me wrong. There are cops that do that. That's why I'm using this prime example. Right. But it is not the norm, which it should be.
I mean, this is gonna sound bad, but when you've lived in a small town that is like the definition of Mayberry, this stuff did actually happened a lot when I was a kid. I remember seeing this and having a completely different perspective compared to what other people were saying, that weren't from this small tiny town of less than 5,000 that I lived in.
Yep. And until I lived in a town that size, I didn't understand you fucking people for shit. And by the way, that was within the last 20 years, last 15 years that I lived in a town that small.
When the cop pulls you over or stops you, and he knows the names of all the people in the front seat by their first name and the names of their kids in the back seat.
Or
I'm just saying.
They see the person in the passenger seat, and they don't know you from Adam, but because they see who you're with, they know that person's mom, their granddad, all their cousins, all their friends, all their coworkers, and you're fucked anyways.
Have you ever seen a cop that wasn't family related show up to a function, pull up with the car with a function with people eating with plates, and have somebody have a plate ready to bring out to them for them to eat in their car? Because these people did exist, I should say, because I don't.
I will say they still exist. The problem is it is not the norm.
Yeah.
There's probably not a major city kid or even medium-sized city kid who has ever seen the practices we're talking about. The only people who still see it at all are the rural kids.
Yeah. Yeah. What is it? We used to the police in town where my parents live when I was going to school there and whatnot. There were 4 or 5 police officers. We knew them all by name. One of them was a substitute teacher at the high school. I mean, quite literally, there was you knew exactly how a situation was going to go just by who got out of the car.
Okay, let me explain the kind of small area I live in now, and this will give you an understanding that you will absolutely get, Despy, that other people, it's going to blow their fucking mind. I was an oppositional voter to this particular candidate. He gave me his home telephone number and asked me to call after Sunday dinner. He talked to me for 2 hours on a Sunday after dinner.
Yeah.
As an oppositional... Huh? Name a fucking politician in a big city that's done that. Please. Right or left. I don't give a fuck.
Did he offer you a beer?
No, because we weren't in person.
Okay.
I was talking to him on the phone. But yeah, that's what I mean. Gave me his home phone.
Did he offer you to come over to his house for a beer?
No, he didn't go that far. But the fact he gave me his home phone number and asked me to call after Sunday dinner, like, you understand coming from a rural place what that means.
Yeah, but you know that
I'm interrupting family time.
The phone book is basically written on notebook paper and is only about like 11 pages.
I agree, but my point is that he had me interrupt family time for that, which is big deal.
Yeah, no, it is.
And that's just kind of the thing. So this blew my fucking mind when it happened. I thought I was gonna get a fucking voicemail at City Hall.
We're gonna have to speed
Yeah.
run this because we got like an hour left.
Your response.
You know, I agree with Police Commissioner Tish in that we do not need the National Guard here
in
New York City.
We can
do
also
not need
split
them for
this
the
up
purpose
and
of
do it
safety,
again,
because if it was safety
another
that
day.
President Trump was so concerned about, he would send them to the 8 out of 10 states that have the highest levels of crime in this country, but he won't because they're all run by Republicans. What New Yorkers need is a mayor who can stand up to Donald Trump and actually deliver on that safety. When Donald Trump sent ICE agents on people in Los Angeles, Andrew Cuomo said that New Yorkers need not overreact. That is the furthest answer that New Yorkers are looking for. They are looking for someone who will lead, someone who will say that they will have their back, someone who will actually fight for the people of this city. And that's who I am, because I'm not funded by the same donors that gave us Donald Trump's second term, which isn't something that Andrew Cuomo can say.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
Yeah, first, the answer in the subways is not more National Guard. I put National Guard in the subways also. It's more NYPD is the answer. But the National Guard is not, he's not sending in the National Guard to do any real function.
have
It's control, it's power.
35,000
He's trying to say these
fucking
Democrats
cops.
don't know how to
How
run
many
these
more do you
cities,
need?
and it's a political gesture by sending in the National Guard. He has
They
said
need assistance.
if the assemblyman
One
is
for each.
elected, he will take over New York. Forget the National Guard.
But this is
he
not
has
the
said, I'm
question.
going to take
question
the
is,
funds.
if they order the troops to come
Actually,
here.
my numbers
Yeah,
are probably
the-
old. It's probably
Well,
more than
I
that
went through this
now,
with
to
him.
be
He
honest
sent
with
the
you.
National Guard to 20 cities when I was governor. You know what city he didn't send them to? New York. Why? Because I said to him, don't you dare, we don't need it, and he backed down, and he will again.
So that proves a good relationship
Wait a
with the
second.
president.
The president is going to back down to you, Andrew Cuomo. I know you think you're the toughest guy alive.
Yeah, they're
but let me tell you
52,000
something.
now.
You lost your own primary, right? You were rejected by your Democrats.
Why
and you
didn't
have
you
a
send the
difficult
National Guard?
understanding that what the term
All
no
right,
is.
all right.
You're
Okay.
not going to stand up to Donald
thank you.
Trump.
Thank you.
I agree with Curtis.
You're not going to stand up to Donald Trump.
Okay.
And he,
Damn.
I told you when Sliwa came in, he came in with the steel toes. He didn't fuck around.
Right.
You don't understand, no, Cuomo.
This and I'm sad that Rich had gotten to work and like
Yeah.
couldn't be here for this. But all I'm gonna say is this is me thinking this is Cuomo with that terminal main character syndrome. The response that he gave there was that I told him no. And that, like, what is it? Like, I will defend this city, blah, 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 like that. That kind of defense that he just had right there was like a terminal version of main character syndrome.
MCS, yeah. Well, no, and I agree, but I'm just at this point I don't care because now we got Sliwa coming in with the fucking rope. He's not swinging off the top rope. He's literally coming in like Tarzan with that steel toe going for the sack.
He's not coming off the top rope. He's taking the rope off and he's beating Cuomo with it.
Oh, because think about that double line of, it's like you don't understand consent.
Yeah.
This is one of these things of I guarantee you there are a lot of New York women who just laugh their fucking ass off because they know what kind of person Cuomo is.
Exactly. And the fact that he'd said that, and then Mamdani'd be like, I agree with Curtis. Like, quite literally. You have somebody who is quite right-wing politics and a democratic socialist agreeing that that Cuomo is a bad person.
Is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Well, but it's also think about the way that started. Like, I'm focusing on the sex pest thing because it's the thing that's the most salacious. But the way he started that was a 1-2 gut punch of the Democrats rejected you, asshole.
Right.
And this is why I'm glad that Mamdani didn't say that these kind of things earlier. Because when I, especially knowing, because I watched it, knowing this was coming up, because Sliwa doing this, it's like they coordinated. Like, I know they didn't. I know there is no fucking way that Curtis Sliwa and Zohran Mamdani work together to fuck with fucking Cuomo. I know that's not the case. These two probably can't be in the same room without wanting to piss at each other's Cheerios.
I'm just saying, this is one of those things which the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
And all I can say is, I know why there's reasons to hate Cuomo. What the fuck do these two New Yorkers know in addition that I don't know? Because both of these guys just said, nah, fuck this dude.
Yeah, well, you can tell that Sliwa doesn't like Mamdani. It's apparent. But Sliwa hates Cuomo more than he doesn't like Mamdani.
And for good cause. Like, for any of you guys who don't know, he is essentially, and this does get brought up later, so it is a slight spoiler, but he is essentially riding the coattails of his father, as we talked about originally. But Mario Cuomo was actually a decent human being and decent politician. Cuomo's brother is, he could have been better, but he's not a piece of shit. This is the Prince Andrew of the Cuomo family.
No.
Literally.
Well, I was about to say, this is the Donald Trump to Fred Trump.
No, see, I don't even think that's fair because Mario didn't choose him.
Yeah,
Mario chose his brother.
Oh,
so
I got a good one. This is the Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that would be a good one for the slightly older crowd. But yeah, like this is that fucking blatant that he is being rejected in this way. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
So, all I could say is we're going to move on. Mario Cuomo, it was the only Cuomo that would have ever gotten a vote from me, and that's all this guy has been living on his entire life.
Yeah.
Now you understand Cuomo. Have fun. You don't need to read. If you do, it will only prove me right, and you'll be mad that you wasted your time.
What is it? The best way to describe it is Mario Cuomo was early BioWare. If you are a gamer, and what is it? Andrew Cuomo here is the guy who inherited BioWare and is now, after Mass Effect 3, BioWare.
Yes, that's an accurate description.
Where everybody's been saying that BioWare games based on the legacy of BioWare should be good games, and they turn out to be shit.
Yes. Now that being said, this is going to be funny, so yeah, let's go on with this because they're
Can't
about
stand
to
up
move
to
on
Donald
with
Trump,
this
who
point.
knocked him right on his toes.
You negotiate with him. You don't fight with him because only the people of New York City will lose.
We do have stand up to negotiate.
We have a follow-up.
I'd like to see a show of hands. Are there any circumstances where any of you would allow the NYPD to cooperate with the National Guard if Trump sent them to New York? Show of hands. Yes? No takers. Okay. Moving on. If history is a guide, National Guard.
I'm gonna stop here because I want to say that this is actually a missed opportunity to actually point out an actual situation in which you'd want the NYPD and the National Guard to work with each other, and that would be during a natural disaster.
I understand what you're saying because you're trying to appeal to the middle.
I'm not even trying to appeal to the middle. I'm just saying that that would be a situation, an actual situation you could point out and say that would be the only situation where you would do that.
Okay.
Are you saying
because of the way?
Are you saying
no? Because of the way we lump in emergency services together, I would say yes. Other than that, no. Actually, I'd say the National Guard should only work with ambulance and EMT and fire. But because we don't segregate EMT and fire away from police, you can't do that. But that's the only reason I say yes. Yeah. That is the only. With police reform, no, because that's not the point. The whole point would be the police would be there to protect the National Guard, who are there to help the citizens. Yeah.
Right.
Troops in the city could trigger protests, and we have questions for each of you about how you would handle that. So, Mr. Sliwa, you have been arrested for protesting migrant housing and for trying to serve Mayor Bill de Blasio with court papers. How would your NYPD handle protests, and would you continue participating in protests as mayor? You have 1 minute.
Well, I've been arrested oftentimes in civil disobedience. That is a great American right. But demonstrations have a time and a place. And it used to be before Bill de Blasio, I know he was your favorite mayor, Zohran Mamdani, that you'd have to get a permit. There's a time period you were in a structured area. You get a sound permit. It could be turned around in a day. If there was going to be civil disobedience, you discussed it with the police department. And obviously you had an opportunity of expressing your anger or your outrage at whatever it was that motivated you to sit down in the street, to block traffic or block an egress. Now we have rampaging groups that go running through the streets, that enter all kinds of facilities and violate other people's rights. And there's no one who's willing to stop it. When I'm the mayor, there are rules and regulations. Everybody has a right to demonstrate. Asshole. But you can't violate other people's rights, or you yourself must be arrested.
Not violating the rights.
I would remove the face coverings. Remove those face coverings. Why are you afraid of identifying who you are as a demonstrator, unless maybe you're an agent provocateur who's been sent in here to cause chaos?
Thank you. Rosarina?
The next question.
I wonder if he would apply that same thing to ICE, where they're not allowed to wear masks like that to cover their faces in the city.
I'd have to go look, but I'd be willing to bet when fucking Kid Newsom signed that they can't do that in California anymore thing. I'd be willing to bet he said that's bullshit. I haven't seen it, but I'd be willing to bet.
Yeah.
I'd probably lose $10, but
I honestly think that it would be funny if Newsom started arresting ICE agents for masking up.
No, I mean, like, honestly, here's the thing. As much as I hate the ICE Topo and what's going on right now, that's not the answer. The answer, at least currently, because we're trying to de-escalate as opposed to escalate, that's why I'm changing this, would be start issuing fines. Eventually, fines get big enough, you can put liens on cars and houses. When they start potentially getting their fucking bonus checks that they spent on their fucking $100,000 Corvette, they start losing that Corvette because of the fines that they're not paying. They might start, actually giving a shit and start questioning that why they're still there.
Yeah.
Why are they still following these orders? Because that's a de-escalation tactic that is a pain point, but it's not an escalation point.
Yep.
Because if we start arresting them, now we're getting into armed conflict between police and ICE. That can only end badly with the way shit's going right now. That's going to end with somebody getting shot in the face with a rubber bullet or something, and then all hell's going to break loose. We don't need that shit.
Question goes to you, Mr. Mamdani. You were arrested for blocking traffic in a pro-Palestinian protest, and you participated in a sit-in at Grand Central. Protesters offered block streets, bridges, and hubs like Grand Central. How much of that would you allow as mayor, and what's your line in having the NYPD arrest protesters? You have a minute.
Protest is a part of what makes this city's history what it is. It is a part of the First Amendment. We deserve to have a mayor who stands up for that First Amendment, especially as we have a president that's looking to shred it at each and every opportunity. And we will continue to have protests in this city, as we should, no matter who is the mayor. And the line will be on the question of breaking the law. What we have today, however, is an attempt to intimidate so many who are looking to use that freedom of expression to share their opinions about the city and the world around them. And to be frank with you, what New Yorkers are looking for is someone who can show leadership in City Hall. Because when they don't see that leadership, that's when so many take to the streets. And if you had a leader like Andrew Cuomo, who was telling people not to overreact when they see ICE agents abducting girls as young as 6 years old to deport them, many New Yorkers will take to the streets. We deserve to have a leader who will actually be following through on the values of the city. That's the leader that I'll be.
Mr. Mamdani, just a quick follow-up. If you're elected, would you still participate in protests?
If I'm elected, I'll be the mayor, and I'll be leading the city from City Hall.
But no participation in protests, right?
The important thing is to lead from City Hall. That's what I'll be doing.
Okay.
Yeah. If I may respond, because I believe my name was invoked.
A very brief response, and then I have a question for you.
I dealt with ICE. I stood up with ICE. I had a war with ICE here in New York when I was governor. And I stood them down, and they moved out. What the assemblyman is saying is, he doesn't believe in law and order. He believes in defunding the police, disarming the police, disbanding the police. That's who he is. Abolish jails.
Sorry, I have a question for you. Okay, 15 seconds.
Very quickly.
And then we do just 15 seconds because we have a question for Mr. Cuomo.
Mr. Cuomo lies again and again and again. I am not running to defund the police. I am running to actually work with the police to deliver public safety. Andrew Cuomo says that he has stood up to ICE. He has not said a word about the abductions that are happening right now.
He's referring to a previous comment you made, and we will get back to this. But Mr. Cuomo, a question for you.
It's a comment he made. It's the operative language.
Yes, I understand. I said that. As governor, you put the National Guard on standby during the George Floyd protests. You didn't deploy them. As mayor, talk about how you would balance the right to protest with maintaining order in the streets.
The right to protest is a sacred right. There is no doubt about that. But
anytime one of these pricks don't answer,
and you have New Yorkers now who are afraid in this city. They're afraid of Donald Trump coming. They're afraid of that anarchy, and they're afraid of the anarchy in the city itself. We have to provide.
For our anarcho-communist, what anarchy do they need to be afraid of?
None. There is no anarchy in Jesus fucking Christ. No, I as every goddamn time I hear them say the anarchy in blank, I'm like, is there a state there? Are there police enforcing laws? Then there's not anarchy. Fuck off.
That's one of the definitions of anarchy. It's not as big a anarchy as little a anarchy is what they're talking about. And yes, there is anarchy, even big a anarchy that should be feared. Is it going to be the predominance of it? More than likely not. But let's be honest, AnCom. There is communism that should be feared, socialism that should be feared, capitalism, etc. Like every group of these ideologies.
I didn't
he
say
said
there was an anarchy
should be feared. He said what kind of anarchy should be feared, and you said none.
Well, no.
So I was being pedantic, corrective.
He was saying, "What kind of anarchy is there in New York?" Because that was the meaning of the question. Even if he didn't say the words, that was implied. That was the implied.
And here's the thing, the anarchy in the colloquial sense, there has been some black bloc activity. Come on, man. You know there's some things that do accidentally lead to things that can be fearful, that you should be fearful of because they're scary.
So I'm not saying there's no form of anarchy that shouldn't be feared. I'm saying it doesn't exist in New York.
I'd have to look at the prison blot or the police blotter, but I don't know, man. Black bloc's usually pretty active when shit's unruly. Just saying.
Yeah, but black bloc isn't anarchy writ large. Like it's one
but they
group.
are a form of anarchy that is still active right now that can potentially cause people to be fear. This is my point. Yes, I'm being pedantic, but I am being corrective.
He's out of line. But he's right.
Public safety that makes New Yorkers feel safe. Demonstration is one thing. Violating the law is something else. Blocking public transit is something else. Stopping students from going to class is something else. Harassment, intimidation, that's a hate crime. That's illegal. Enforce the law. Respect the police. They're not racists, as the assemblyman calls them. They're not a threat to public safety, as he says. They're not anti-queer.
Yes, they are.
They are here to protect New Yorkers, work with them, fortify them.
You know, that's ironic that you say that now,
I'm sorry,
Andrew Cuomo, because when you were governor for 8 years, your parole board released 43 cop killers back into the street.
Okay,
your father, when he was governor, released none. I knew Mario Cuomo. You know Mario Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo. You released cop killers. Don't say you're pro-police.
If you want to respond briefly to the comments that Mr. Cuomo raised about things you've said about police, you can do a brief response to that.
I have been clear time and time again. that as much as Andrew Cuomo wants to bring up tweets from 2020, which is around the same time that he was sending seniors to their death in nursing homes, I am looking to work with police officers, not to defund the NYPD, looking to ensure that officers can actually do one job when they're signing up to join that department, not the many jobs we're asking them to do.
He was specifically referring to comments you made. We will come back to that, but we're out of time.
Okay, corrupt
candidates,
and racist.
We're moving
That's
on.
what you
Thank
said.
you.
Your words. Your words.
We're moving on. Thank you. Despite record low crime numbers, polls show that crime remains a top concern for New York City voters. The three of you have very different approaches to crime fighting and how to manage the NYPD. We want to get into your plans. So we'll start with this question. It's a two-part question, but it's short.
Oh
how will
God,
you make the city safer? And how will you change the NYPD?
So
You'll have 1 minute. We begin with Mr. Cuomo.
I would add 5,000
complicated words.
Step back. Remember what happened. The far left, the socialists said defund the police, defund the police. They took $1 billion out of the police. The NYPD is now down at one of the lowest levels in modern political history. I would add 5,000 police, put 1,500 in the subways, raise the starting salary because you can't hire them. You can't even fill a class right now. And you have to add additional police officers because the attrition rate is so high. Part of that is going to be saying to the NYPD, I respect you. I don't think you're wicked, as the Assemblyman said. I don't think you're corrupt. I don't think you're racists. I value you. I will have your back. I'll be a mayor to work with you. That's how you're going to get the police to apply for the jobs. And then we have to work on the relationship between the community and the police. The police can't police the community. They have to police with the community.
You're up next, Mr. Sliwa.
This is amazing. I'm standing here with my two adversaries, both of whom have threatened to defund the police. You, Andrew Cuomo, during the summer of 2020, you said, if you don't reform police departments, I'm going to defund you. And you certainly said that, Zohran Mamdani. We need 7,000 police. We only have 32,500. The problem in recruiting police, which neither of you are addressing, is that their insurance was stripped from them. The state, you did nothing when you were governor, and here in the city, 2021, the city council and Eric Adams did nothing. They don't have qualified immunity, which you benefited from, Andrew Cuomo, with the 13 lawsuits filed against you for sexual harassment. Tom DiNapoli says we're paying out $60 million. Why? Because you had your qualified immunity as governor, and yet people have stood by as police have lost their insurance that all civil servants have. That's why you can't get recruits in, because they're not insured. I will return their qualified immunity because they need to be protected like other civil servants.
That is not New York State. It's New York City on the qualified insurance, on qualified immunity. It's not insurance at all.
You are entitled to free legal counsel, which is what he's referring to.
Yes.
You have spent.
Yes, but it's New York City that has revoked qualified immunity. It's not insurance. It's qualified immunity. It's nothing to do with insurance.
Okay.
So that protected you in all these lawsuits.
And yes, the lawsuits, because there was a report filed. I said it was political. It turned out to be political. And that's why
all 13 women were lying. Come on, Andrew. All 13 women were lying.
After 5 years.
A state trooper, too?
Yeah, after 5 years, 5 DAs, 5 years of litigation, I was dropped from the case.
Mr. Mamdani, how will you make?
Okay,
Mr. Mamdani, how will you make the city safer, and how will you change the NYPD?
The fact that it took 5 years tells me that you went through every piece of wiggle room that you possibly could, you slimy piece of shit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, if I got accused of sexual harassment and assault, do you know how long it would take them to discover that I didn't do it? Probably a month at most.
Yeah.
At most.
5 years.
And like, I'd be like, here's my computer. What do you want? My phone? Passwords? What are you doing here? Like, it would take them a month at most, and that's because they didn't have enough interns to read everything.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Like,
in New York.
Yeah, go on.
I'm proud to have a comprehensive plan to bring new ideas to the city. If you want more of the same, vote for Andrew Cuomo. If you want an actual approach to lower crime, look at our Department of Community Safety. That is something that has been hailed by experts as addressing so many of the pieces of why New Yorkers are not feeling safe today. We will ensure that no longer are police officers asked to do the job of both policing and responding to the mental health crisis. We will have dedicated teams of mental health outreach workers in the top 100 subway stations with the highest levels of the mental health crisis and homelessness. We will ensure that cops can finally go back to the response times they used to have in 2020, closer to 11 minutes, as opposed to the closer to 16 minutes today, because they won't be asked to respond to the 200,000 mental health calls that are coming in through 911 every year. This is evidence-based. It's been successful elsewhere in the country. It's time we deliver it right here in New York City. It's time for a change.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
Zohran Mamdani, we already had it. It's called the Homeless Outreach
I'm
Unit.
sorry, this is not free for all. We have another question for Mr. Mamdani.
Bill de Blasio funded them by $1 billion out of the budget.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Mamdani, we're going to talk about disciplining police officers. The civilian watchdog that investigates police misconduct regularly recommends discipline for cops accused of wrongdoing, but the police commissioner often overrides them. You want to change that policy so that the board has final say. Please explain to viewers in 30 seconds why you believe the police commissioner should no longer have that final say.
What I've said is that I think it's time to remove much of the politics out of the question of accountability. We have the Civilian Complaint Review Board, which, as you said, studies, assesses, and investigates into complaints of abuse and the violation of the law. And oftentimes, those recommendations are then subject to political pressures and not followed through on. I think New Yorkers deserve a system where they know it won't then be assessed once again that there's actually more to the recommendation in the investigation that's being done by the CCRB.
Okay, we're wrapping up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Cuomo, do you believe changes are needed for how officers are disciplined? And are there any powers that you would give up as mayor? You have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I would not remove the police commissioner from the CCRB. I'd leave it with the police commissioner. I think Commissioner Tish is doing a very good job. I would trust her. The difference between me and the assemblyman is he doesn't like the police. That's why he won't hire more police when everyone else says we need more police. He wants to use social workers on domestic violence calls, which are very dangerous. And he's told you what he thinks. He thinks the police are racist, wicked, corrupt, and a threat to public safety.
Thank you.
Those are his words.
Very quick. Mr. Mamdani, very quick.
Look, Andrew Cuomo is a politician of the past, and all he can speak about are the tweets of the past in 2020. Those are tweets which I have apologized for to New Yorkers and police officers directly, and they are not what I'm actually running on. They're incapable of actually speaking about the platform that we have here, which is one that will keep New Yorkers safe.
Can we just quickly ask you, because I think what some people feel they haven't heard from you, we hear you saying that you don't believe that anymore and you've apologized. People have not heard you sort of describe the evolution of your thought, how you got from there to here.
You know, growing up in this city, I would think often about safety and justice and the ways in which that relationship has been irrevocably harmed. When I learned about the Exonerated Five, when I learned about Sean Bell, when I learned about Eric Garner, when I learned about Michael Brown, and then in 2020, when I wrote these tweets, learning about the death of George Floyd. And that was a moment where it felt as if the distance between these two ideals had never been further. And in becoming an assembly member and serving and representing more than 100,000 people in Queens, learning that to deliver justice means to also deliver safety. And that means leading a city where you recognize the bravery of the men and women who joined the NYPD and put their lives on the line. Yeah. It means representing the Muslims who were illegally surveilled in my district and the black and brown New Yorkers who've been victims of police brutality.
So Mr. Sliwa, you...
There we go.
Hey, political answers aside, because that's literally what all three of them, or both of them fucking did, because the whole point I was going to bring up that was going to be quick was, notice how they never have a question for Sliwa. Never have a question. I was just going to be like, Zohran, Cuomo, Zohran, Cuomo, Zohran, Cuomo, Zohran. Like 1 out of 6 times they cycle in. They're like, "Hey Curtis, hey buddy, do you still got your crayons?"
It's not only that. It's not only that. Is the fact that they're talking about policing, the one fucking issue that Sliwa wants to talk about the most, and you're going back and forth between Mamdani and
that's why it was going to be quick, because I knew the here's the thing. No, you don't need more police. And yes, there is a problem in the policing departments where there is a racism and a sexism and a actual issue. Is that all police? No, I'm not an ACAB dude. That's some dumb dish shit. But bigotry problem. How about we just put it that way? It has a BP problem.
The big B bigotry problem.
Yeah, and this is kind of my point. It is systemic. It comes from policies and laws. Does that mean that every police officer is these things? No. Does it mean that every police department is these things? No. But it means you have to actively be paying attention to combat these things, or else you can very quickly become the LASD, for example.
Yep.
Where you literally have gangs in your sheriff's department, or LAPD, where you literally have gangs in your fucking, and I don't mean like reformed gangbangers. I mean literal criminal gangs of police officers that you cannot fire because they have fucking union protections.
Yeah.
And I'm a pro-union guy, but what? What? Huh?
Jack,
wait a minute.
But you're a communist. Don't you side with the union every single time?
I do, but this doesn't make sense of what the union seems to side against the union in this one. And at that point, my brain goes, eh?
Yeah, but didn't the workers make that decision?
I mean, don't bait me with that. We'll be on too much of a tangent. Just fucking click play. Don't you dare! Don't you dare, you prick!
Been out there, you've been.
You're the one complaining about
how long it's taken, and then you beat
you asshole.
Let me just suggest, Zohran, what you've suggested.
Zohran. Thank you.
Excuse me. Let me just suggest what you have proposed with this new police outreach unit will endanger women and children in domestic violence situations. I know I've been involved in so many of them with the Guardian Angel. They will be killed. They will be maimed. Number two, in dealing with emotionally disturbed persons that I've dealt with for all my years as the Guardian Angels, you need trained professional police officers. Yes, you can have mental health workers with them,
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa.
but that has been suggested. It was done.
They will be killed. They will be maimed. Well, 25% of them will probably be by the Guardian Angels, but that's beside the point.
Okay, now here's the next thing. What he is talking about is also incorrect. We have, not in the U.S., mind you, but we have in Canada, we have in Mexico, we have in Bahamas, we have in UK, we have in Ireland, we have in Iceland, we have in Greenland. So pretty much every nation that's extremely close to us, they have this, where they actually do have social service police that aren't police department that go in to handle these situations. They have police training, like hand-to-hand combat, things like that they need, but they are primarily mental health advocates that then go in and assess and can go, oh, no, we need backup, or can handle the situation. We can do this as a supplemental thing. What we have found is that every time we integrate those mental health experts into the police departments themselves, the systems fail. Why? Because the culture of those police departments start to affect the fucking decisions of that fucking mental health expert to go more in line with the police's inclination, as opposed to the health of those fucking patients. And the whole point is of them being there is to be an advocate for those patients.
Yep.
If that fails, the system fails.
I mean,
so yeah, and those.
I'll be 100% honest that when I was doing security, at the University of Minnesota, there were a couple times where incidents where cops have pushed the envelope, and they asked if we had to file an incident report, and they're like, yeah. What are you putting in that report? I would leave this section out and this section out of the report. If you feel the need to continue this report, we cannot guarantee your continued employment with security.
Yeah.
And there's a high likely chance that something similar to that, and this is somebody that was working a quote unquote security job that was under the university in which I was in a student position, and I was told that my report had to reflect a particular narrative.
Yes. I did not work the same level of security that he did, or work at a school like he did. But it's when the police showed up, the bosses would call, or just outright change my shit on their own. They would go in and physically change my report themselves.
I don't know what it's like now, but the program that they had with the school where I work security, we were literally under the exact same payroll as UMPD. Our payroll went through the same thing.
Yeah, and the security that I was running was essentially the same thing, except for it was a sheriff's department. Yep. It was not for a school, though. It was for something else. But that's kind of my point. But it was the same kind of bullshit, where it was they physically change your report. And here's the thing: I didn't have anything crazy. No, I didn't have anything fucking crazy.
I wasn't told that my report would be physically changed. I was told that I needed to change my report because my report could go missing.
I don't know why they did it the other way with me. I don't know. Maybe it was just fucking that company's fucking culture thing. But regardless, it was just that same kind of thing where they just would change it.
Well, no,
they didn't give a fuck.
No.
They would not allow a bad report to stand if they did not want it to.
So the way the system worked, and this is part of the reason the system worked the way it did, was because all reports that had to be filled out needed to be filled out by hand on yellow paper. And
yeah. Okay.
And then submitted.
Yeah, all ours was typed in.
Yeah. We still
like even back then. Yeah, it was a DOS computer, but still.
We still ran on a system in 2010 where we were handwriting reports.
I'll be honest, it was probably a wise thing because then that couldn't be done. The shit that was the shit I'm talking about is back in the 90s, homie.
No, but
so this is yeah. So
what I'm talking about is the fact that we would write a report. The report would go into a pile of reports. Those reports would have to go to someplace within the police department.
Whatever.
It had to go to somebody's desk, and reports go missing, especially when the pile of reports is sitting right next to a shredder.
Like I said, I'm with you on that. I don't know why they did it beyond the fact that we had to type everything in. Like, that may have been why they did that. That's what I'm saying. This may have been why you got more of the hands-on approach than I did, because they had to do it because of your system.
So
that being said, yeah, this is something that happens, and this isn't me going like all cops are corrupt. Again, no, but there are certain things like they'll fucking hit your emotions. Like, dude, if this report reads the way you're saying it because you're being a little biased here, I might lose my pension. And now you have to think about his kids going hungry and shit. Yeah. Like we're not even talking like blatant, like outright corruption. Sometimes people are just stupid.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, like just the demeanor of the people that worked in the police department, I would honestly say there was about 25% of them that were actually there, that enjoyed the job, enjoyed the work, and were actually personable people that you could actually talk to. And whenever they conducted any sort of investigation, no matter what it was, they were the same people that you would talk with, that would have just a normal conversation with you, that would have a normal conversation with the people out there. Now, there were 25% of them that literally wanted to step on necks. Step on necks was the first move. That was the first thing. They wanted a heel on your neck. That was the first thing they wanted to do. It could be a lost child looking for their parent, and they wanted their heel on that child's neck.
My experience is a slightly lower percentage of them, but yes.
Yeah.
This
And I will say, like these guys, if they showed up,
I would call that 25% the bullies, the ones that peaked in high school and never got over fucking not getting better.
Well, no, but here's the thing: they were either the guys that bullied and then decided they weren't going to take shit anymore, or they were the people that were the actual bullies, and they got a job that allowed them to be a bigger bully. But more often than not, these guys, if they had to show up for any reason whatsoever, first of all, they were pissed off, and they were pissed off to a point where you thought that they might get into a physical altercation with you because you messed up their night.
Yes, because to them, and I can give you a small example of this, what was happening, at least in my area, these guys, what they wanted is they wanted nobody to call, nobody to need them. Because what they wanted to do is stay at the station all day so that they could be on the range, so that they could try to become SWAT. Because that was their life goal. Those are usually the pricks that you're talking about that are always amped the fuck up. The people who will never be SWAT,
it would be,
those ones.
Yeah, it would be one of those things where you'd be in like a medical building, and there'd be a particular door that is like one of the doors that's supposed to remain closed at all times, no questions asked, no nothing. And if that door is propped or cracked open even slightly, you're not supposed to enter in there, and you're supposed to call police, and the police officer is supposed to come. That is the literal protocol. and you'd call the police, they'd show up, it'd be one of these guys, and it's almost as if they look like they're about to slam you against the wall. They're so pissed that they had to show up for this thing that is required for them to do.
Yep. Yeah, it's more than one situation like that. Yeah. It's stupid. And that's the thing. Is this all cops? Fuck no. It's not even the majority. It's not even a plurality.
And I would say that there's about 50% of them there that they're just there for the paycheck. Like, quite literally. They're clocking in, clocking out, paycheck. That's
like every other fucking job. Yep.
Pretty much.
About 50% are just there doing the bare minimum to keep their job and not get fired.
And yeah, and they're the type that be like, I don't get paid enough to either say anything, or the other thing is that I've got bills to pay and I can't.
Yeah. And that's the thing. This is the reality. And for any of you people who watch this who are like, oh, you aren't leftists because you're giving fucking leeway to these cops. No, I'm giving leeway to humans.
Yep.
We don't have fucking iRobot automatons in these fucking positions that we can program to be perfect.
Yep.
These are fucking human goddamn beings, people. Yep. I'm not saying what they're doing is a good thing. I'm just trying to put some perspective on it, and because that way we might be able to fix the problem as opposed to just blame people for shit.
Yep.
So. Anyways, Sliwa is about to actually say something useful for a change.
Okay. Before by the homeless outreach unit, and the guy you thought was the best mayor, Bill de Blasio, disbanded.
Mr. Sliwa, thank you. Brief response.
To be very clear, the Department of Community Safety is not about responding to calls of domestic violence. We are speaking about mental health crisis and the homelessness crisis. These are the focuses of the work that they will do.
All right. We have other questions for that a little later in the debate, but we want to just change the pace a little bit, candidates.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's right. The department and the NYPD that handles domestic violence, de Blasio
so we want to know how much you spend a week on groceries. We'll begin with you, Mr. Cuomo.
Depends how many times my daughters come over, but probably about $150.
Okay, Mr. Sliwa?
Oh, I'd say about $175 with a gallon of milk, now $5 and always rising up. Loaf of bread. Simple loaf of bread that used to be 99 cents. It's like $3 now.
Thank
the price is too
Mr. Sliwa,
thank you.
It's a brief answer. Thank you. Mr. Mamdani.
Yeah, I actually agree with Curtis on that. It is too costly. Now that eggs are down to less than $4, though, my average spend every week is about $125, $150.
All right. Do you carry credit card debt or do you pay it off every month? Mr. Mamdani?
I pay it off every month.
Mr. Cuomo?
Paid off.
Mr. Sliwa?
I don't have a credit card. I have a debit card.
And for the record, what is your monthly rent or mortgage, Mr. Sliwa?
About $3,900. It's not subsidized.
Mr. Mamdani, what is your monthly rent or mortgage?
$2,300.
Mr. Cuomo?
He has a rent-stabilized apartment that a poor person is supposed to have. Mine is about $7,800.
Okay.
We are actually getting to
We're going to cover that subject. Sally?
Thank you. We're going to talk a little bit more about the runaway rent and the.
All right. So
New York standards, he is fucking poor, Cuomo. By New York State standards, and specifically New York City standards, Zohran Mamdani is a motherfucking poor person.
Right. And here's the thing. Did you see how much Cuomo's apartment costs?
Yeah. $7,800 fucking dollars.
How many people in New York are paying $7,800 a month?
A lot, actually.
Well, no,
especially if they're in Manhattan.
But what I'm saying is, I realize it's a large city, proportionally.
Probably about 22%. It's like I said, more than you would expect.
I get that. But it's still not even anywhere near like a third.
No, I'll give you that. I'm just pointing out, like, let's go to like Detroit in its heyday before the fall. And there it would have been like 10, 15%.
Mm-hmm.
LA probably 15%. Seattle's another big offender like New York City where it's like 20, 25%. Like this is like the high end of this being a problem. That's all I was getting at.
The other thing you have to take into account is that if you look at New York compared to all these other cities, New York has a lot of old money.
Yes.
And
same with Seattle, funnily enough.
Well, I get that, but what I'm saying is that New York has been around a lot longer than a lot of these other cities that you're talking about here with the cost of living and pricing and whatnot. What I'm saying is that because New York has had this old money for a long period of time, that is the reason why it's higher.
No, and I'm with you on that. But then, like I said, Seattle, but it has old money too, because a lot of those people came over to be timber barons from New York after they basically, did out upstate, and most of Ontario, so on and so forth. So yeah, like I was pointing out that that would explain why these two specifically have this problem, because they are the two major cities on the extreme northern edges of the timber region.
Right.
So yeah, that would make sense.
Is that when Mamdani say he's paying $2,300 a month, and Cuomo says he's paying $7,800 a month, who seems to be more in line with the average person?
If I'm gonna be honest, even Mamdani is probably the exception. I'd say probably the average is more with Sliwa, funnily enough, because most people can't get those rent stabilized apartments.
Yeah. Yep.
That, just to be fair.
Yep.
So yeah, because like when I lived in New York City over 20 years ago, I was paying almost $1,800 a month.
We got about 10 minutes left,
Yeah,
and then
that's
we're
all.
gonna have to wrap this up because.
Yeah, and like I said, I knew this was going to happen, and once we got on the big tangent, once Rich got in,
and
we were going to have to split. Yeah, that's it. Well, that was after Rich got here. That's kind of my point. We got off on bigger tangents when it was all four of us. But I honestly didn't expect Rich to show up. I'm glad he did, but I didn't expect it. So it was a pleasant surprise that made me a little bit more loquacious than even normal.
Yep.
That being said, I will point out that most people don't get the luxury that Mamdani has in this.
Yeah.
I was paying $1,800 almost 20 years ago. I can only imagine that the average is probably closer to Sliwa now, without like doing like a Zillow search and like actually like doing some research.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
Rent for nearly 1 million rent-stabilized apartments. That really affects less than half of all rentals in the city. What is your plan for those who aren't in stabilized apartments but are struggling to pay the rent? What are you going to do for them?
Well, I'm proud to say that I will freeze the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants, and I will also build 200,000 truly affordable homes across the 5 boroughs over the next 10 years to ensure that tenants, whether rent-stabilized or market rate, can actually have more housing such that they are not being priced out of this city. And finally, I'm also going to make it easier for the private sector to build housing in the city, because what we see today is that it's not labor, it's not materials, it's the weight that is often costing so much to actually build the housing we need in the city.
Thank you. And a follow-up for you, Mr. Mamdani. The cost of maintaining a building change year to year for landlords. The Rent Guidelines Board is legally required to consider those costs when deciding whether to freeze rents. So how can you promise a rent freeze today before ever seeing that data next year?
We've seen the data time and again. It's
next year's data.
It's been data that's been overruled by mayors again and again. The last Rent Guidelines Board study showed that profits were up 12% for landlords of those units. And what did they do? They raised the rent, adding to more than 12% under Eric Adams' administration. What I'm speaking about is actually reflecting the needs of these New Yorkers and the state of the market today. These are New Yorkers who have a median household income of $60,000. We do not need to be pushing them further out of the city. We need to keep them in their homes.
Aren't you saying in that answer that you are going to prejudge? You will not have seen the data for next year, and you're making a determination based on data you haven't seen?
I've seen the data year after year of the fact that salaries are stagnating, costs are up, New Yorkers can't actually afford their apartments. And I will also take action to actually ensure that the landlords of those buildings can better handle their costs by taking on their insurance, their property taxes, and their...
He's right to answer this way, but he shouldn't have talked over her like that. I mean, other than that, he's saying the right thing. He just shouldn't have talked over her, because what she is saying is technically a separate question than what he is answering. And I think because he talked over her, he didn't realize it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that like he could have just said this, like, well, projections are showing that this is, and as the projections show, I'm going to respond based on the projections.
Yeah, he's not a math guy who would have said this is a trend that has been ongoing for an extended period of time, that with only small marginal dips that could ever be predicted to be repeated. So yeah, like this is one of those things. We know this is something that's essential. This is why every major nation in the world does this in big cities.
Yep. All right, we're hitting the 5 minute mark. Just so you know.
Yep. Yeah,
Got
we'll
it.
just
You're
finish
see
up
next
this
year's
question.
study up, and
Cuomo,
we're
I
going to go
do
to
have a
the
question for you on this subject. You have proposed something that you're calling Zohran's Law. You think that Mr. Mamdani earns too much to live in his rent-stabilized apartment, though I should note that there are no income tests for rent-stabilized apartments. But critics say your plan would force people to pay too much of their income towards the rent. So if you think Mr. Mamdani is gaming the system, what about the other New Yorkers, thousands of them just like him, who earn similar salaries, who are living in similar apartments?
Okay, just to follow up on what Sally was saying, because she's right. This is not a new plan that the Assemblyman is talking about. It's Bill de Blasio's plan. It was called Freeze the Rent. Bill de Blasio says the mayor can't say legally he's going to freeze the rent. There's a rent guidelines board. There are certain considerations that have to be looked at. You're right, Sally. You can't say today what it's going to be in 4 years. Also, freeze the rent only postpones the rent, because then you have to have an increase to cover the costs. Otherwise, the building is going to go bankrupt. And it does nothing for the majority of renters who aren't in these rent-stabilized units. There's nothing for NYCHA. There's nothing for homeowners. There's nothing for people in black, brown communities who are getting priced out. I was the HUD secretary. I built affordable housing all across this nation. I built affordable housing in this city when I was in my 20s. I know how to get it done. I will get it done. On the rent-stabilized units, what I'm saying is those are the precious units, and we should,
we
should keep them for the most rent burden.
We have to move on.
But I have a question for you.
No, sorry.
Okay, so 2 things. One, no, you don't actually have to have this in this way. If you actually want to keep rents stabilized in this way, because that's why this is called rent stabilization, not freeze the rent as Dickhead in the past did. It is about changing the material conditions around these buildings so that the cost goes down, so that those buildings can make money at those rents and still have a decent quality of living for the tenants, so on. It is about the balance so that no one group is overly burdened. That's stabilization. It's not truly freezing the rent. That's why I hate this fucking talking point from him, because too many New Yorkers are going to remember the fucking old talking plan, which was fucking freeze it completely, which was fucking stupid. Stabilization goes both ways. You have to do certain variables on the landlord, certain variables on the tenant, certain variables on the city, and play the fucking, the essentially building trio. You could have it quick, you could have it faster, you could have it quality, but you can't have, or you could have any 2 of the 3, but not all 3.
Yeah. All right.
AnCom, did we lose you?
I'm just distracted with some other shit that's I'm having to deal with. So,
I understand.
All right. We should probably close out. We're at like the halfway point.
Yeah.
And
well, that's why I said we just finished that question, because it was essentially the answer to Zohran's question as well. So that's all. Yeah. Just because I didn't want to start off essentially halfway through a question chain.
A rent freeze isn't a long-term solution, and it's not necessarily best in every case in every scenario. In the same way that tariffs are not a solution for like blanketed tariffs is not a solution. And
yeah, now here's the thing: if New York did not already have, good,
but no tariffs is also an extremely dumb position.
Yes, and all I was going to get at is a rent freeze is a highly useful tool. It is not something that is meant to be done willy-nilly or for prolonged periods of time. What it is meant to do is to completely freeze a system in place so that it can be adequately studied to then institute a rent stabilization program that is particularly tailored to your city's needs. And that is why you do a freeze for 6 months to a year, so that you can get a snapshot of this fucking city as it is, so you can find all of the fucking nuts and bolts that are out of alignment and go give them some grease and a little tweak.
Yeah.
And fucking try to stabilize shit. Rent stabilization is why these programs are called this now, actually function in that way, where they tweak it over time constantly. They're constantly tweaking this and a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of this, but that's because they've already done the freeze. what Mamdani is talking about, is no longer a freeze. It is just applying that stabilization to more units.
All right, so we are 5 old fogies are angry. You got to see 4 of us today. There's 3 of us left. I am DesperadoSensei. The guy above me with the beard is
Jack,
and the guy below me is
Like him.
All right, and we are headed off. So we will take care and be sure to check out some of our material in our on our YouTube channel, and also check us out on Substack. And we write materials there as well. And take care, and good evening, good night, or good morning, depending on what time zone you're in. Take care. Bye-bye.